Good morning to everybody. We are going to start the program. Dr. Nichikesh sir, one of our experts, is going to join.
Namaskar. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, madam. Please continue.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on food processing and value addition, innovations, opportunities, and government schemes organized by the Department of Processing and Food Engineering, College of Technology and Engineering, MPUAT, Udaipur, sponsored by IDP under NHP ICAR, New Delhi. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we are having some of them here today to build this event. With this note, I would like to give my heartiest welcome to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. Narendra Singh Ji Rathore. Due to his some urgent occupancy, he is not able to join, though he has conveyed his blessings. I welcome Dr. S.K. Sharma, sir, Director, Directorate of Research, as chief guest of today's program. Dr. Nachiket Kotwali Wale, Director, ICAR CPET. Dr. Sanjay Kumar Das, Bhuvneshwar. Dr. P.N. Chauhan, sir, Professor J.U. Junagadh as expert speakers. Dr. P.K. Singh, sir, PI IDP and Dean CDA. Dr. N.K. Jain, Dean CDFT. Dr. Virendra Nepalia, sir, and all other respected guests, faculty members, friends, and dear students. It is mark of our undying tradition to invoke the Almighty at the beginning of any important event. I call upon the technical team to play for us the traditional lamp as a tribute to Mother Saraswati. Your huge presence from across the state in this important webinar reflects its significance. Better roadmap for implementation of the government schemes, effective management of stakeholders involved in the process. The focus of today's webinar is exclusively related to the production, processing linked innovation, opportunities, and government schemes. I now invite Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jain, sir, Head Processing and Food Engineering, CTA, to briefly rate about the webinar.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning and very warm welcome from Lake City to all the persons, experts presently connected online in this webinar. Our chief guest of this webinar, Dr. S.K. Sharma sir, and in absentia, head of our university, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Narendra Singh Ji Rathod Sahab, convener of the webinar, Dr. P.K. Singh sir, today's expert speakers of the webinar, Dr. Nichiket Kotwaliwale sir, Director ICAR, Central Institute of Post Harvest Engineering and Technology, Ludhiana, Dr. S.K. Das, Dean, College of Agricultural Engineering and Technology, OUAT, Bhubaneswar, and Dr. P.M. Chauhan, Professor, Junagadh Agriculture University, Junagadh, Dr. Mahesh Kothari, Dr. Nikita Vadhavan, Dr. B.K. Sharma sir, Deans and Directors of the University, co-convener of this webinar, Dr. N.K. Jain sir, Dean CDFT, co-organizing secretaries, Dr. P.S. Champawar, Senior Professor, Dr. Vikramaditya Daveji, Head Electrical Engineering, Dr. N.L. Pawar sir, Head of Department, Renewable Energy, Heads of Departments, faculty members, student coordinators, and all the participants. On behalf of the organizing committee, I, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jain, as organizing secretary, welcome you all in this webinar. The idea of this organizing this webinar was conceived in the address of mentor of most of us, Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, who at many times emphasized the need of innovations and opportunities in completing agriculture sector, and special emphasis on the food processing and value addition. Since 2000, our Honorable sir is advocating to set up the processing industries at production catchment areas. During his tenure at the ICAR, he has took many important policy decisions which were later become the part of the government schemes, and one of them is to make agriculture as a professional degree. The second, he initiated the task to reduce the post-harvest losses, and the government of India took note of this and started one program, Prime Minister Formalization of the Micro Food Processing Enterprises PMFME scheme, in which the concept of ODOP, one district, one program, was given. This will help to set up food processing units at the production catchment area. On one side, it will reduce the post-harvest losses of the food materials, and on the other hand, this will also helpful for enhancing the rural economy. It will also be helpful for increasing the farmers' income. Even after joining our university, our Vice Chancellor Sir has floated many innovative ideas, like a starting of the digital technology cell, in which the use of artificial intelligence and Internet of Things in agriculture and allied sectors. I would like to mention here that one of our student, PhD student, is working on the development of the IoT-based heat pump dryer. Many innovations have taken place in the food processing sector in the last decade, especially during the pandemic, when the people were looking for immunity booster and healthy food. These innovations have developed many opportunities, and many new startups have come up. The government policies are also encouraging the new setups, and there are many government schemes which are helpful for hand holding also. Some of these schemes for supporting the startups and providing subsidies are PMFME1, Mudra, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, Stand Up India, etc. And for the skill development, some of the schemes are the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, supported by National Skill Development Council. Today we are having with us three eminent speakers. Dr. Nichiket Kotwaliwala sir will be speaking on the various innovations in food processing sector and will be sharing his experiences on the topic engineering the path of prosperity through post-harvest interventions. Dr. S.K. Das sir will be speaking on the various entrepreneurship opportunities presently prevailing in the food processing and value addition of the food materials. Dr. P.M. Chauhan sir will be sharing his experiences, highlighting the various government policies and the scheme of the sector. I'm sure that the deliberations of this webinar will be fruitful and helpful to all the participants, and some of them will definitely start new food processing enterprises. The concept of the ODOP in the Pan India will also encourage and will help to start with rural enterprises in the production catchment areas. With this background, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. We still have to take several more big steps to take our efforts to the next level, to increase our speed and scale too. This is merely not an opportunity, but it becomes responsibility of each one of us to achieve big goals with collective efforts and to create Atmanirbhar Bharat. With these thoughts in mind, I invite Dr. P.K. Singh sir, convener of this webinar, PI, IDP, and Dean CTA, for his welcome address.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Chief guest of the today's program, Dr. S.K. Sharma Sahab, Director Research, Maharana Pratap University of Agriculture and Technology, Udaipur. Eminent speaker, Dr. Sanjay Das, Dean, College of Agriculture Engineering, Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, Bhubaneswar. Dr. Nachiket, Director, ICR CFED. Dr. P.N. Chauhan Sahab, Professor and Head, Junagadh Agriculture University. Dr. Nipalia Sahab, OSD. Dr. N.K. Jain Sahab, Dean, CDFT. All my fellow Dean Directors, Dr. Mahesh Kothari, Organizing Secretary of this program, Dr. Sanjay Jain, Dr. Dave, Dr. Nikita, Dr. Pamar, Dr. Raj Purohit, Dr. Champawat, and dear students, I extend warm welcome to our esteemed Honorable Vice Chancellor, as due to some engagement, he could not attend this meeting. But this particular program was framed under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is always motivating us and our students for developing entrepreneurship among them. Our university is doing a lot of efforts, particularly to develop entrepreneurship among the students, and IDP is a good platform on which we can provide a number of opportunity to our students. In every setup, our Honorable Vice Chancellor has pointed out number of times that we can do some innovative idea, And under that respect, our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir has started number of activities. Dr. Sanjay Jain was mentioning that our university has started digital technology cell, artificial intelligence and data science. In that respect also, particular revenue generation cell, number of activities, innovative activities were started in the university. And in this concept also, particularly food processing and value addition, the innovation opportunities and government scheme. This particular program was also initiated under the motivation and encouragement of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. As you are, all of you are well aware that in the food processing technology, there is a lot of opportunity that we can grab, particularly under the secondary agriculture. If we talk about the secondary agriculture, then food processing is one of the important topic where our students can do lot of activities related to development of entrepreneurship. At this particular moment, I also welcome my three eminent speakers, particularly Dr. Sanjay Das, Dr. Nachiket Kotwaliwale, and Dr. PM Chauhan. And it is really a proud moment for me that all these three eminent speakers are alumni of CTI, and all these three eminent speakers are with us. This is a very great moment for me because when I was a student of CTI, all these three students were also, three eminent speakers were also living with us in the hostels. Welcome to all the three, my colleagues, my fellow, my friends, in this particular webinar. Before I start to continue some more words, I extend warm welcome to our Director Research. I'm Dr. S.K. Sharma Sahab, and I also extend thanks to Dr. S.K. Sharma Sahab for accepting our invitation. I just talked 15 minutes back to Dr. Sharma Sahab and inviting him to become a chief guest. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Sharma Sahab is a very dynamic director research of our university, and he is basically man of the vision and man of the reform. I worked together since the last time with Dr. S.K. Sharma Sahab in the Directorate of the Research. I am also working as PI of one of the ICR scheme of AICRP on irrigation water management. And in that respect, I can say that Dr. Sharma Sahab is really a man of vision, not in the field of this organic farming and natural farming. He is doing a lot of activities related to all the aspects of the agriculture and agriculture engineering field in our university. Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Sharma Sahab, for accepting our invitation and for the chief guest. Particularly, this training program is really, it is a dream of not only our university, but it is a dream of all the university that under the edges of the IDP, how we can develop entrepreneurship among the students. I would like to point out here that many of our students have done a lot of work, and Narayan Lal Gujar is one of the example of the CTA that he started his own startup and set up this startup not only in India but in Japan also. In university, Saddam Hussein and many more persons, students, they are coming forward and they have started their startup. In particularly, I would like to point out few more example in Rajasthan College of Agriculture, that under this leadership of Dr. Dilip Singh Saab and Dr. Arnab Joshi sir, many students are coming forward. And now Dr. S.S. Sharma Saab in RCA is also doing a lot of efforts that how we can develop entrepreneurship among the students who can work under this, particularly on this protected farming and polyhouse development also. I welcome, once again, I welcome all of you. I also welcome Dr. Nepalia Saab, who is always with us and always inspiring us for organizing such type of activities for the students and faculty members. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the eminent speakers and all the my colleagues, my head of departments, and all the faculty members for joining and for motivating students. Then lot of students have joined. I think this more than 236 students have joined this particular webinar. I welcome all the students and hope that these three speakers are well-known personality in their field in the country, as I personally known to him, and their deliberations will certainly provide a lot of benefit. That Dr. Chauhan is also going to speak about the government scheme. Dr. Nachiket Kotwaliwale, I know personally, he is man of innovation. He has done a lot of innovation in this Central Institute of Agricultural Engineering in the field of processing and value addition. Dr. Das, I know Dr. Das, he is also member of the 6th Deans Committee. And Dr. Das has pointed out number of points, number of issues that have raised, number of modification they is going to propose that under the 6th Dean Committee, how entrepreneurship can be developed among the students, how the industries people can be collaborate with the institutions, and how they can be benefited by our students and our teaching methods. Welcome, Dr. Das, Dr. Nachiket, and Dr. Chauhan Saab for joining us, and hope that your deliberations will really provide a great benefit to our students and faculty members. I once again welcome our chief guest, Dr. S.K. Sharma Saab, for joining us and for accepting our invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The food processing industry needs to be developed at a faster pace. The agriculture sector has to be expanded to global processed food market through increasing agro industries cluster along villages so that the rural population can get employment related to farming. It is needed to encourage the startups. The investments in food processing of niche agro products to be promoted and facilitation of exports of perishable commodities to be increased. With more than this, the countless and tireless efforts or contributions of our chief guest, Dr. S.K. Sharma sir, towards organic food production and popularization is innumerous. He is the man of distinct vision, an ideal of knowledge and experience and inspiration to all of us. I once again welcome sir, Dr. S.K. Sharma sir, Director, Directorate of Research, for your inaugural address.
Very good morning to all. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be the part of this very important webinar on the food processing and value addition. And this webinar is a very timely taken step because it is dealing with the innovations, opportunities and government schemes in the value addition sector. At the outset, I extend my hearty gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Narendra Singh Ji Rathod Sahab. And many times our Honorable Vice Chancellor has made this particular topic in the focus, not only at the farmers level and into our teaching syllabus or students level, but at national and international level. And even since last 2.5 years, many important milestones in the food processing and value addition, either in terms of the technology development or suggesting the measures to the NABARD or to our state government as a policy measures, or making some innovative steps at the university level so that we can enhance the food processing as well as value addition value in our state of Rajasthan in the whole country. I really extend my hearty welcome to our Dean CTI, Dr. P.K. Singh Ji, our eminent expert, Director CPET, Dr. Nachiket sir, our Dr. Sanjay Das Saab, Dean CAET OUT Bhubaneswar, Dr. P.N. Chauhan Saab from JU Junagadh, and Dr. N.K. Jain Saab, Dean our College of Dairy and Food Technology, and Dr. S.K. Jain Saab, Head Processing and Food Engineering CTI, and all co-organizing secretaries, Dr. Vikramaditya and Dr. Champao Saab, and all student coordinators, and Dr. Nikita Vadavan, for organizing this very excellent and timely webinar on very important topic. At this moment, I would like to mention that our Indian economy is mainly based on the agriculture, and we have been all feeling that our three sectors, either it may be agriculture, it may be our manufacturing and service sectors, they are contributing to the total economy of the country. And since last 2 years, there have been the call by our prime ministers to make our Indian economy to be the 5 trillion economy, and in this the role of agriculture has been emphasized. And you all know that looking to this importance of the agriculture, and within the agriculture it is the food processing and value addition, which has been tagged by our union cabinet by making a provision of 60,000 crores for the food processing industry, as well as so many schemes in this sector. Because so far in our country, when we talk about the agriculture and allied sectors, there is primary processing, secondary processing, and tertiary processing. But at the international level, there are a lot of opportunities for our country, not only in the primary but secondary and tertiary sectors. When we talk about a kind of the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats in the food processing and value addition sector at our country level, then definitely there are a lot of opportunities are available, because we have the diverse agroclimatic conditions, and presently more than 2.25 lakh crores of the rupees are contributed from the this food processing industry in the agriculture sector. And within the agriculture sector, the contribution of food processing industry is not more than 10 to 12%. And here it is the stake and opportunities are lying that we can increase this particular contribution in the agriculture sector up to 25% in the next 10 years. So there are a lot of opportunities are existing before our youngsters, because India is a country of our youth, and where more than 50 crore of the youth population between 25 years to 49 years is there. And every day we all observe that number of youths, when the survey indicates that they are not interested in joining the agriculture, because there are two very important things, that agriculture job is not lucrative in terms of the mechanization, and secondly in terms of the income. So how to enhance the mechanization and how to enhance the income from the agriculture sector, definitely it is important, and it has been recognized that out of total income of the farmers per household, that is around 1.22 lakh in our country, 40% of the income is still contributed from the agriculture labor work. So there is a need of to enhance the income from the agriculture sector, which contributes only 36% to the total income of a farm household in the country. And it has been observed that if we put right emphasis on the food processing and value addition in our country, this income from 36%, it can be increased more than 50%. So here there are a lot of opportunities and government schemes are available. We can see that as talked by our Dean, Dr. P.K. Singhji, that our College of Technology Engineering is having very important centrally sponsored scheme, that is the PM formalization of micro food processing enterprise scheme at our CTI, where all the important aspects of the technical and business backstopping is being done by our CTI, and they are contributing very important step at the national target of 2 lakh micro food processing enterprises to be established in our country. So definitely there are a lot of opportunities are available, but still the kind of the environment which is visible in our rural areas, that need a kind of the particular technical backstopping, so that we can enhance the abilities of our young students, we can enhance the technical knowledge of our progressive farmers, we can enhance the skill and experiential learning of our farmers. That is the need of the hour. In Rajasthan also, like throughout the country under this scheme, one district, one product program is being launched, and with the help of the NABARD, our university is also working in this direction. I would like to mention to all the participants that is still even our young scientists from the universities, from the even ICR, even from KVKs, they are not formally apprised very well towards the operational operandi of the all schemes, which is very important, because we are having the technical knowledge, we have the good processing facilities, but how these schemes are operating, what is the capital subsidy, and how a particular plant would be launched and implemented at the rural area level, whether it is FPO based or it is SSG based or individual based, what is the capital investment. So total food processing plan as a business plan need to be managed in the rural areas. For example, in our southern Rajasthan, many farmers, progressive farmers, even industrial people are now coming that we want to establish 1,000 ton capacity of maize processing plant in the Udaipur and the Banswara. But still, there are kind of the constraints available that it requires the huge investment, but there are lot of capital subsidies are available, which can be materialized. Even we are talking with the district collectors in the both the districts at the Udaipur and the Banswara, but still the whole maize grain is going to either Gujarat or to the Bombay for the processing purpose, and it also incurs the lot of cost. So product which is produced from this particular maize, which becomes costly for the people, but at the same time they are not getting the higher income this region. So these kind of the things should be taken into consideration by our young friends. At the same time, there are a lot of opportunities that has been given under the our Prime Minister's Kisan Sampada Yojana. So it indicates that a good ecosystem environment is created at the national level now for the promotion of the food processing and value addition in our country. And our target is that at least the food processing industry at the primary level in all rural areas must be established at the panchayat level, so that our farmers' income can be increased at least from 10 to 20% by taking up all these activities. But for this purpose, because it requires a lot of the business activities, and our farmers must be made aware about the technical backstopping in all these schemes. Similarly, whenever we talk about the processing of the milk industry, then processing of the in Rajasthan, the orange as well as this custard apple, then even papaya, then maize and soybean. They are the important crops. Even minor forest produce, they are important crops where we are now thinking of the secondary processing, so that those farmers who will join all these activities in the region, definitely their income will boost up. So this particular webinar today is on very important topic, and there are many issues which will be dealt by our eminent experts who are dealing at the national level. A lot of innovations are there in the ICR, even CFATE and our different SAUs at the national level, where number of innovations have been there. And within the soybean, as we feel that more than 75 processed products are available in the market. So it is also a competition cut industry, where if somebody has to survive, they have to be technically upgraded continuously, because processing technology is also continuously changing in the market. So to be for the better survival in the processing industry, there is a need of technical upgradation always, besides the networking and the marketing opportunities. So this particular webinar definitely will enhance our technical capacity, our young students, those participants who have joined this particular webinar, scientific advancement, because our both all three experts are from the national organizations. A lot of development has been taken place, and another important part of this webinar is that the organizers has chosen the important government schemes. More than 15 schemes are operating at the national level in the food processing and value addition. And I think very less knowledge is available to our students and participants, even progressive farmers, though continuously at the district level, at the state government level. Even Rajasthan government has announced food processing policy in the 2019, and all deputy directors, it is under the Agriculture Marketing Board. They are sensitizing to our farmers for taking up such small micro scale level enterprises, so that they can also be self-employed, and at the same time they can provide the job to the other farmers. This will definitely also help into the enhancing the employment opportunities in the rural areas, because it is said that out of total persons employed in the agriculture, only 10 to 11% are employed into the agro processing industries. So there is a need to give a lot of emphasis in this industry. And like we should take the advantage of all schemes like Stand Up India, Startup India, Mudra, then PM EGP, PM formalization schemes, and PM SV Nidhi, which are many times they appear into the newspapers, but their classic specifications should be made aware to our all participants, so that when they will read and they will learn about the basic aspects, they will motivate other farmers, other industries, their family members, so that everybody can take the advantage and we all can contribute towards the a kind of the dream that in which at international level it is said that in our country the contribution of food processing and value addition is less than 10%, but we with such kind of the sensitization, definitely we assume that our all young friends and participants and students will take more such kind of the industries by better technical upgradation, by taking better support of the government schemes. They can set up their own industries so that we can enhance the international value of our country. We can enhance our export value also at the international level, and at the same time it is a good news for all of us also that already government of India has allowed 100% FDI under food processing and agro processing in our country. So definitely it will also help in taking the new technologies to our country. I extend very hearty thanks to the Dr. PK Singh Saab, Dean CTI, and extend my hearty gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Narendra Singh Rathod Saab for providing me this opportunity to be the part of this important national webinar and sharing some of my views related to this topic. Once again, thank you very much to all organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. I now take the opportunity to introduce our eminent speaker, Dr. Nachiket Kotwali Wale. He is presently the Director of ICR Central Institute of Post-Harvest Engineering and Technology, Ludhiana, and responsible to lead research and development in the area of post-harvest engineering and value addition technologies appropriate to agriculture production catchments and agro-processing industries in order to minimize the post-harvest losses and empower the rural community with additional income. His major areas of professional interest are design of agro-processing machinery, development of agriculture produce value chain, automation in agriculture commodity supply chain, non-destructive quality evaluation of foods, machine vision applications in agriculture, instrumentation for quality and safety in agro-processing, including storage and minimal housing. His professional accomplishments are publication of 15 books and proceedings and 75 publications, including research papers and popular articles, and several technical lectures and presentations. He has been contributing in policy development in the area of agriculture and food processing to Government of India, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Haryana, and has also contributed in some of the working groups at national level led by ICR, Niti Aayog, etc. I welcome, sir, for your deliberation on innovations in food processing.
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So that is the first thing normally you do on online. Good morning, everybody. Honorable Dr. Sharma, Director of Research, Dr. PK Singh, Dean CTAE, Dr. Sanjay Jain, Dr. NK Jain, I can see. My fellow speakers, Dr. Das and Dr. PM Chauhan. Good morning to all of you. And it is for me, it is like homecoming and talking to people of CTA. Students, as I see, there are around 240 plus people in the audience. So good morning to everybody. And if you allow me to share my screen, I will start my presentation.
Sir,
So by the time
you are the presenter.
I beg your pardon? No, it is not permitted. It is not permitted to share my screen. You may have to make me presenter then only. Yeah, you may have to make me presenter. Yes, now I can do it. Okay. Now can you see my screen? Whole screen?
Sir,
Dr.
due to
Jain, please
connectivity,
respond.
now it is there, sir. Sir, there, sir.
Okay. Yeah, there might be, and I'm outside my office. And that's why you may probably see FSSAI logo in backdrop. I am in meeting with FSSAI. Anyway, talking about engineering the path of prosperity through post-harvest processing. When Dr. Sharma started the issue of entrepreneurship. Now, in entrepreneurship, there are two major issues. There are many people who are going for startups. And for startup to be called startup, one of the major issue is innovation. That the idea should be something new, idea should be scalable. And then there are many other issues also. So I will be talking a little bit on some of the cutting edge technologies through which I would like to generate some ideas into you. And definitely when we say innovation, so whatever I am saying, if you are strictly following within the boundaries of that, then it is not innovation. You will have to go beyond the boundary that I am showing you. But at present, what I am doing is I am showing you to what extent the boundaries can be extended. Major issues vis-a-vis engineering intervention, especially in the sector of post-harvest technology. We have three major types of challenges. One is technological challenge, another is resource quality, and third is economic. I have listed them in detail in the coming slides. So coming to one is technological challenges. Do we have the technology? Do we have an appropriate technology suitable for Indian conditions? Resource quality, do we have appropriate resources? Do we have hardware? Do we have the material itself of the appropriate quality? Many times, if you discuss with people, especially in fruits and vegetables, if you discuss with people, they will say that even after huge taxes, it is easier for them, or it is beneficial for them to import some of the goods from outside rather than using the Indian product. So the resource quality, and when I say resource quality, I also mean the human resource quality. Are our human resource trained enough? Are our human resource skilled enough to address to these issues, address to the issues of new technology? And then ultimately, everything, whenever you are talking of entrepreneurship, everything boils down to economics. Is it economically viable? Is it beneficial economically? Then only people will take it. Situational challenges, some of the things we talk, we have in general small land holding, and the farmers have limited purchase power. Of the challenge, and limited availability and labor. Whatever you say, electrical power, diesel power, and everything, it is not available in abundance. And at times, even if you are ready to pay, you don't get it. Same thing about skilled labor. You should remember the major contributors to Indian economy or GDP are service sector. So it is very, on the economic terms, it is very easy to understand that that's the sector which is contributing more to GDP will be ready to pay more. And the labors will shift towards that sector. So that's why you see many laborers are shifting toward construction, towards any other types of jobs, because it is paying. And first people who will move are good skilled people. So that's why there is a dearth of skilled labor available in the agriculture and allied sector. Then drudgery in post and pre and post harvest operation. That is also another challenge. Many people, they don't want to work like their earlier generation used to work. There are huge post-harvest losses. I will deliberate a little bit more on that. But at present, I would like to tell you that the value of the loss at national level is around 1 lakh crore per year. That is huge. Then people need year-round employment. Agriculture and food in general, they have been season. So there would be employment at the time of sowing, there would be employment at the time of harvest, there would be employment even if the food industry is there, they give employment only during the processing of say mangoes only, or some other commodities. Employment is not year round, it is not assured, and that causes a problem. And then profitability of agriculture and allied businesses, that's also a very big limitation because of the limited bargain power of producers and farmers. And then every now and then environmental issues are cropping up. So these are some of the challenges. If I continue with the challenges, then burgeoning environmental and biological issues. We have seen that issues like pandemic, issues like locust, issues like some kind of viruses. These are cropping up every now and then. Climate change has become a major issue, and we cannot just ignore it. Cost of mechanization, and I already talked about it. Then market is opening. International market is open, and that's why it becomes very difficult. Rather than producing something in India, it is easier to import it from some other country, like China or Bangladesh or some other country, where things are much cheaper and our requirements are fulfilled. Then research resources in the ambience of research and education. We know that these resources are not unlimited, and they are dwindling also, and a lot of challenge is there to get research resources. Coming to loss and waste, this is now I am almost every seminar wherever I talk about this because this is substantially huge. Mammoth losses are taking place. I already told you that the value of loss is somewhere around 1 lakh crore per year, and there are two types of losses. And this 1 lakh crore per year, I am talking of only quantitative loss. I'm not talking of the wastage. So loss is one side, wastage is another side. Loss is inadvertent but can be prevented. It's deliberate and can be prevented by changing of mindset only. So quantitative losses are there. And so these quantitative losses, I'm not talking much on it yet, but nevertheless, we should acknowledge that they are there. With the loss of food, internationally, the FAO has estimated that between 30 to 50% of the food material is lost or wasted. Loss and waste, both the things. That is because of ignorance, that could be because of inappropriate technology, that could be because of negligence. So the value amount of quantity is around material. It's wasted. And what is more, that not only we are losing this much quantity of material, but we are also losing the energy that went into production. We are also losing the water that went into production. An estimate is that the total loss leads to loss of water. That is, which is around 16 times the annual water discharge of river Satluj. Now, since I am at present in Punjab, so I'm taking Satluj River. But if you talk of river Narmada, then it is somewhere around 7 to 8 times of annual water that is flowing through Narmada. So 8 years of Narmada discharge we are losing just because, and that much water was given to the crop, and that crop was lost. This is also causing the uneaten food. This is also causing 1.4 billion hectares of land occupation. And then carbon footprint is somewhere around 3.3 gigatons of carbon dioxide. And then there is a lot of methane emission. And this methane emission causes 25 times more harmful to the ozone layer than the carbon dioxide emission that we are having. And on the right, if you see the picture, you see the losses in production catchment itself, in the area itself. There are % storage losses, packing losses, and this I'm talking about values. In the Indian context, CIFET conducted a survey during 2012-13, and another survey is conducted by NABARD at present, not comment. And this is the outcome of that survey, where we found out that the value of losses for different kinds of commodity, how much is the loss value. In this, I can tell you that the minimum is in case of milk, and maximum is in case of fruits and vegetables. So the value comes out around 1 lakh rupees per year, 1 lakh crore rupees per year. And my personal estimate is the value of the wastage is so the food that we are leaving in our plates, the food that we are wasting and in parties and in different occasions, all of that, the food that comes to our house remains uneaten and then thrown away, that all might be costing around 2 lakh crore rupees per year. At the same time, we have certain constraints also. We don't have right quality of raw for processing. We have seasonal excesses and seasonal scarcities, and thereby that's why the price fluctuation is huge. Then taxing, I will just leave it at present. And complicated administrative and for opening of industries and all. Although there are government claims that there are new initiatives, single window policy, but still things are not so easy. Food laws are there, they are changing, we are getting influenced by the Western world, and food laws get changed very frequently. Very weak interface between institution and stakeholder. This is a matter of alarming actually. The stakeholders, the food processing industries, most of the time they want ready-made solutions. And if research is to be conducted, then ready-made solutions are not always available. And then indifference for quality. This is another issue that the Indian consumers' primary goal is towards the price, the value, not value but price only. And if somebody is giving quality, then it is not given any premium. Even in government sector, if some material is sold at say rice, if it is supplied to government sector at 14% moisture content, it's okay. If it is 15, then 1% cut would be there. But if the farmer gives it at 13%, he doesn't get anything. So because of this, this kind of things lead to malpractices also. So what is required? Research and academic impetus is required for modern mechanization, but appropriate mechanization. Automation, data science, then robust technologies and material science, and right scaling. See, so many at very large scale. The scale of processing is very high. On the other hand, many times people say that we want very small scale technology, but at small scale, the technology may not be economically viable. So right scaling is what an engineer should always attempt, rather than just blindly following the Western levels of technologies or the requirement of the consumer. Yes, requirement of our stakeholders is paramount, but at times these requirements are not very justifiable, and we need to educate them. Then resource conservation and secondary agriculture is required. Secondary agriculture, here I mean the processing activities leading to use of waste material. I should not say waste material or surplus material, or I should say the byproducts of farms, byproducts of process industry. And that will also help in making the pollution-free environment. Food safety and quality, very rapid and field-worthy kits are required. Then realize one thing, that whenever you are going to increase the scale of any processing, whenever you are going to use machines, you would always need energy. And then requirement of energy packs, especially the mobile energy packs, battery, lot of work is being carried out, and lot of potential is there. So even being agriculture engineer, we can think of how we can provide mobile battery packs or mobile energy kits, I should call. Second generation biofuels is also another area where you can think of, along with processing. Then data generation and basic research for policy decision, this is imperative. Unless we have it, everything our own, data is now value. And unless we have that valuable asset, we will be lagging behind. And then appropriate curricula and hands-on practical training facilities. Especially since I am talking to the audience of college, I would definitely encourage everybody to engage yourself lots of let me go a little beyond of the topic, and let me pay my homage to Professor Aaron, who was my teacher at CTAE during my MTech, and he was teaching computer. And one of the most wonderful thing he did is that use this computer at your wish, at your time, whatever you want to do, just don't physically break it. So that type of attitude is required among all teachers, and especially in the case of the high-ended knowledges and cutting-edge technologies, where there would be very much reluctance among the students and awe among the students, and that has to be broken. I'm very sanguine that this type of facility use and this type of freedom would be provided to all the students, and that lead to a lot of innovative ideas, and innovative ideas getting converted into form of physical things. At the same time, when I talked of challenges, I talked of impediments, but there are positives. We as India has very broad crop base, but at times it becomes challenge also, because variety of things are there. So one technology at times cannot be sufficient for even all the varieties of single crop. But that is one of our advantages. We have a very good framework of mechanization in place. We have large market. That is one of the reasons where that we are not exporting much, because our own market is large enough to consume everything. Now the new consumers are coming who are nutritional savvy. They are ready to experiment with their foods, and they are ready to pay more for good material. We have excellent network of mobile phones, which can come handy in control of technology, which can come handy in implementation of technology, which can come handy in advertisements and promotion of your product. So many things, and you have seen that the Indians, whether it is rural or urban, all of them, they have taken this mobile technology very quickly, and they are using it a lot of advantage. So let us not think that people will not take my technology if it is too ahead of time. No technology is much ahead of time, and every technology will be, if it is useful, it will people will take it at whatever cost is it available. Another positives is that we have a wide spectrum of technologies available already with ICAR, with CSIR, with Ministry of Food Processing Industries, and with academic institutes like CTAE and so many others. So general approach towards the solution is appropriate mechanization, on-farm processing. You see, remember one thing, that quality cannot be moved. Quality can be retained. Quality is to be retained at the beginning itself. And that is why on-farm primary processing has to be given a lot of impetus and a lot of encouragement. And we are expecting that the young generation will bring out very innovative technologies for retention of quality at the farm itself. Then comes on and off farm level value addition, on farm value addition or off farm value addition. Every small step is it adds value. Value could be time value, value could be space value, value could be some other kind of emotional value also. So different types of products. When Indian diaspora in abroad, when they are searching for certain kind of papad or certain kind of buddy or some certain ethnic foods, so that is also a value addition. So that is a emotional value that is being added to it, and at the same time, place value is added. Something which is made in India and when it goes to abroad. So those type of value addition can be done. Supporting infrastructure, I'm sure Dr. Chauhan will talk much, but a lot of infrastructure is required. Physical infrastructure and human infrastructure is required, and government schemes are there to support these type of things. And skill development at every level, skill development at the artisan level, at the manufacturer or fabricators level, at managers level, and at the level of top management also is essential. Now I will very quickly go through some of the new technologies and giving you idea of innovative automation with brilliance. So my tagline says that innovative automation with brilliance. Automation has to be done. Everybody wants things to be done automatically. We don't have to do anything, but it has to be with innovative idea. Innovation pays, and it has to be intelligent or it has to be brilliant. Let us go one step beyond it, that it's not only artificial intelligence, it's not only otherwise general intelligence, it has to be brilliant. Okay. So post-harvest quality management per se, there are two factors which affect. One is biotic and another is abiotic. As an engineer, we are more interested into abiotic factors because they are the factors which we understand, physical, chemical, and physiological factors, and they can be controlled by us. We can generate technologies to control any or every factor among these. So let us start with protection of not only grain but even all other food commodity, I should say, food protection, and variety of technologies are available. We are talking of products which are natural. We want to have technologies which are non-chemical more or less, because what happens is in case of chemicals that there are residual effects and sometimes they are not accepted by the consumer. So we are more interested in physical treatment or mechanical treatment. Yes, biological control and chemical control, these are also some of the alternatives. And then joining everything is biotechnological control. So there are in physical, if we talk, there are thermal technologies and there are non-thermal technologies. I will little bit elaborate them in slightly later slides. So we have seen storage structures like all of these, starting with somewhere in 1960s, the coal tar drums were propagated as a storage structures, because otherwise the storage was, that was the first metallic storage structure, I should say, introduced in India. Then came some kind of innovative aerated storage structure, but nevertheless, at a large scale, the bag storage structure itself was promoted and it was accepted. And to support to that covered storage structure, cap storage structure, that is cover and plinth kind of storage structure, which is shown on the bottom right. So that also is prevailing, still prevailing for short-term storage. At the same time, metallic bins of variety of size, they were introduced by government agencies and many private agencies, and these type of things are not very uncommon now. But still, large quantity means the sizes of 5 ton, 10 ton, 15 ton are not very popular. Rather, it is a very small type or a very large type of storage structures. Now, these large type of storage structures, which are bulk storage structures, which are called silos, they are equipped with different kinds of sensors, and these type of sensors are hanging inside and giving a grid of making a grid of sensors and giving information on the heat and moisture condition of the grains. Different techniques which have been used for disinfection before the this type of bulk storage is now most common is open sun drying. Moisture is the most harmful thing for any kind of product, any kind of food product, I would say. In case of fruits and vegetables also, moisture is one of the detrimental thing, but you want to retain it. In case of food grains, moisture, you want to remove it. So things which are very important in case of any kind of decay of any material is moisture, air, and temperature. So these three things, if any one of them is controlled, then the shelf life increases. And then microwaves or radio frequency, infrared, ohmic heating, oscillating magnetic field. These are some of the technologies which are being used for controlling moisture of the grains before storage. These are some other storage structures which are becoming common, and they are called silo bags. They can be simply kept inside the field, and 1 acre can store around 2,000 tons of grain in these kind of silo bags. Although they are slightly expensive, but nevertheless, the technology is there. An alternate to that technology is these type of hermetic storage structures. And this is a picture of experiment that was conducted by us at Bhopal. And this is a vacuum-assisted hermetic storage structure in which wheat and open to elements within these bags. And for almost 8 months, that 8 months included even the monsoon season. And for 8 months, there was absolutely no damage to grain, absolutely no activity of insect or no fungus or nothing. So these type of technologies have been explored, and at a research level, they have been there. Although compared to doing nothing, they are expensive, but nevertheless, they are able to retain the quantity and quality. So they are able to restrict the qualitative losses as well as quantitative losses. So that the one which I showed you earlier, that can be even sensor assisted. Then comes the technologies which are used for before storage or even after storage. So I'm not going to go into details of how microwave works or how radio frequency works. I will directly come to the technology that have been developed. So this is a technology for microwave-based disinfection of grains. You see nowadays many people, they buy basmati rice or even wheat, a particular premium brand of wheat, and it's in a good packet, and good value is paid for its procurement. But when you open the packet, you find that there are insects inside. Now the producer or the packer who has packed the material, they put these grains intentionally, these insects intentionally in that. What happens that on the grain itself, there are a lot of larvae and eggs, and over the period of 3 to 4 months, they all hatch, and when you open the bag, this thing is there. So we have developed a technology of microwave disinfection. So before bagging, the grain is given slight moisture. Moisture is adjusted. Some preconditioning is done. Microwave exposure is given. Then moisture is removed, and dead insects die. So dead insect separation takes place, and then collection and then bagging. So if this way things are done, and if there is no infection, then the grain could be stored up to 12 months. So now 12 months is the period till what we conducted the experiment. But ideally, it should be able to store for much longer period without any kind of insect infestation. Another kind of heating is infrared heating. This is a new generation research area, and a lot of good work has been done at CIAE and even at NIT Rourkela. They have done a lot of good work in infrared heating, and in case of microwave and also radio frequency areas. Ohmic heating is a technique. So these are some of the techniques which I am giving you an idea. Those especially who are in the field of who are in the search of topics for their PhD work. So these are some of the topics. So ohmic heating is a heating where heat is generated because flow of current and resistance that is offered by the material. This ohmic heating, this causes heat generation is internal, so the distribution of heat is quite good. Other than that, there is a pulse electric heating also. I didn't have a slide for that. So pulse electric heating also is there, which causes cell rupture, and not only it helps in disinfection, but also there are a lot of other advantages like extraction of color or extraction of some kind of oils that becomes very easy. A new area of research, non-thermal processing is also coming up. And if you have paid attention recently, NIFT in Tanjore, they inaugurated one new lab on non-thermal processing of foods. And under this comes cold plasma, irradiation, and ozonation. And many PhD work, PhD level research are being done. I think AAU Anand has a facility of irradiation, and many other organizations. Ozonation, even at CIFEC, we have ozonation facility. In CIA, there is a ozonation facility. So these are some of the new areas which are being explored for processing of foods, different kinds of foods. This is a kind of a chain I am trying to present, especially in horticultural crops. You see, India doesn't process much horticulture, and many places you will see people claiming that in India processing is only 1 to 2%. But frankly speaking, it is not 1 to 2%. 1 to 2% is the processing of horticulture crops for export. But otherwise, and that is also processing, tertiary processing. Otherwise, if you talk handling, cleaning, grading, sorting, transportation, all these things are nothing but some kind of process unit operations. So that way, everything that comes from farmer and goes up to a consumer, everything is processed. 100% processing takes place. Only its perception is what do you define as process. But every place, every unit operation, there is a plethora of technologies available, and there is a lot of scope of innovating so that the handling becomes minimum. In one go, you can do a lot of things. In one go, you can do cleaning, sorting, and other observations. Packing, everything can be done in one go. Transportation, different types of transportation bags, transportation cushioning material, transportation baskets. So a lot of innovations are taking place. Remember that these baskets which are used for transportation, one way they are going full and they're coming back empty. So a lot of space is being utilized. There are some collapsible baskets, but which are not becoming very popular or which are not very reliable. There is a scope of people doing research on that. During transportation, monitoring of the environment is another issue. During transportation, you need exact conditions under which the product can be retained or product quality can be retained. Before transportation, if you can grade and sort the material, then the transportation and storage load reduces. So this complete chain of fresh product handling, there is a lot of scope of automation into that and controls. Radio frequency identification, this is another area. When I said that consumer is becoming quality savvy, consumer is becoming organic or natural farming savvy, then they want that the product that they are eating should be certified and it should be traceable. So radio frequency tagging, this comes handy, and through this and through the cloud computing, you can definitely trace the material from back up to even farmers level, and then you can find at what type of treatments were given, how many sprays of insecticides were done, what were the different types of fertilizers given to the field, what are the conditions of nearby fields. So plethora of data can be generated and then can be provided to the consumer, and appropriate information or decision support can be given to the consumer. Sensing and separation is one of the areas that starts just after collection. And ICR institutes have worked on some color sorting equipment. So one of them is from CIA, another from CIFED, and is a very classic color sorter which is used in rice mills and some other industries also. We are yet to develop a completely indigenous color sorter machine, except for these two, which are for fruits and vegetables. But for grains, anything that is 100% Indian is yet to be developed. And this is a challenge for all of you. Then comes sensing or viewing inside the product or radiation-based techniques. So on the right side, on the left side top, this you see an instrument or equipment developed for X-ray imaging of different crops. On the bottom, we have this microwave processing unit. On the right side, we have also explored computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, emission imaging, infrared imaging. So lots of technologies are there. We have to find which is the most appropriate for which crop, which commodity, and for which purpose, and then develop the hardware. That is the challenge actually. This is another work of us. We did some kind of electronic nodes, which we can say, not per se exactly electronic node, but gas sensing based quality determination of mushrooms. How fresh are the mushrooms? Using this type of device, we can find out. Image based maturity detection, image based detection of the mushrooms. How old is the mushroom? So for that also we have developed some image-based technology. Then hyperspectral imaging is another level of imaging, wherein you can generate protocols, you can generate certain signatures of a commodity to find out different kinds of defects or different kinds of positive things. And this is also called chemical imaging. So certain chemicals like proteins or lipids or moisture or certain other things, how they are distributed, everything can be determined using this type of technologies. And then based on that, you can generate handheld devices or different kind of devices for finding rapid quality or safety. Even this has been used even on the right side. As you can see, we can find out damage on cucumbers much ahead of the time. Then the same hyperspectral imaging has been used for detection of aflatoxins. This is the same kind of feature. Aflatoxins in maize, aflatoxins in groundnut, and then even paddy and all other many varieties, they have different fungal growths and aflatoxins. So same thing can be detected non-destructively and without touching, non-invasively, using hyperspectral imaging things. Thermal imaging, for modeling and control of cooling or baking, or even for finding different grains or insect within the grain. For that also thermal imaging can be used. This is another experiment or academic work we have on use of sound for detection of insect density within a grain storage. So based on the sound that is you can hear and then processing of that sound, you can find if at all there are insects, and if they are, then what is the insect density. So this is one. And then robotics definitely is a new area to replace to some extent the skilled manpower. And another area which is coming is cobotics. Cobotics is kind of a collaborative robotics. So some part of it is done by human and some part of it is done by robots. And this cobotics multi-sensor devices are being used. They are specially for low-speed applications, and then they provide some kind of good support to human being, and but at the same time, like they will have a gentle grip if you are handling eggs, or if you are handling flowers, or if you are handling very tender fruits or vegetables. In that case, these type of devices can be applied. This is a application of drone. This is small video that you can see that these are multiple drones being connected to a power device. So battery is not required to be carried. Of course, this is not done in India, but for harvesting of different fruits, and not only harvesting, but in the processing domain, we are also working the quality of the material. So they will define the quality, harvest and sort at the same time. So both the things will be done at the same time. So that type of applications we must think of, because now you see government of India is giving 100% subsidy on procurement of drone by government organizations. That will include all ICR institutes and state agriculture universities. And it is a good time that state agriculture universities buy some few drones, and some of them in the off time can be utilized for these type of applications. Another application of drones, not drones, but robots, we are contemplating as miniature robots. So these miniature robots can be put inside a grain mass, or even within fruits and vegetables, and they will crawl very easily within the mass, and then they will give data, and then radio frequencies can be used for charging of these kind of small devices. This is another application, cloud-based application for monitoring and control of storage structures, especially for fruits and vegetables, where the storage, cold storages and refrigerated vans and everything, they are connected to each other. So just take an example that a truckload of banana starts from Trichy, and it is intended to go to Jammu. But because of the weather conditions or because of some other issues, suppose the agency finds that the banana is now close to ripening and it cannot go up to Jammu. If it goes to Jammu, it will be over ripened and cannot be sold. Somewhere in between, it will be diverted to Udaipur. Or maybe even before that, it can be diverted to some Hyderabad or some other place. So that type of decision supports can be taken very easily using cloud computing and sensor-based storage and refrigerated vans. Robotics and IoT and blockchain, these are the new technology, new buzzwords, and they are coming out very strongly, but they have to be applied wisely. At times, people will say that they are replacing our labor, and they are not good for that sense. But remember that they are replacing the unskilled operations, and they are giving ample opportunity for white-collared or blue-collared jobs, and skilled job opportunities to skilled people. And then they are creating a lot of opportunities for service sector. The service sector, whether it is drone-based service sector, whether it is machine-based service sector. Potential of 3D printing. Now, 3D printing is also another area at present. Much of academic institutes are working on this. That how do we print a personalized food? A nutritionist recommends that you should have this much protein, this much lipid, this much salt, not more than this much sugar. So how do you design the food and how do you make that food individually available? So 3D printing could come as very handy. We are looking at a kind of a concept where there is a vending machine and you simply key in your requirements and the vending machine will give you out an idli or a porridge or a dosa or a pizza or any kind of material which is fulfilling your functional requirements. Nutritional dense innovative foods could be there, and not only for foods but even for making of structures. Structures for storage, structures for different building structure also. So that type of things can be made using 3D printing. Sensing of food quality, artificial biosensing, e-tongue, e-nose, e-mouth, e-vision, you go on and everything, all the human senses, they need to be converted into artificial sensing, and then they need to be trained appropriately and provided appropriate intelligence to the device. Mobile phone based or Android device, I'm pretty sure that they will get the first entry into the market and acceptance into the consumers. This is the same thing explained in a graphic way. So we need to address convenience and hygiene. We need to address right sizing or scaling. Technology has to be at the right scale. We need to address robustness, especially if we are talking of the high tech. Then the sensors and technologies imported from outside, they sometimes fail in India because of the weather conditions, because of the conditions and skills of the laborers who are using it. So we need to make them robust so that they are fail-proof or foolproof. At the same time, they are expensive, so they should be versatile. They should be able to handle more than one crop, more than 4, 5, 6 crops. They need to be updatable dynamically. That is also required. It's not that every 3 years you change everything. So that dynamism should be part of technology development process. Cost effective, I started in the beginning itself that cost is one of the major issues. Agriculture is commerce, and commerce means money. Money means there has to be cost cutting at different places. Expertise and infrastructure at the same time has to be developed. And there are government schemes. I'm sure Dr. Chauhan will talk about those government schemes. What are the different schemes and what are the different promotional activities of the government? And whatever we do, prototype multiplication, many times we see on social media, 1 or 2 machines simply are made. They look brilliant, but at times I have seen that they are not robust. They are good for only making that video, and they are not getting multiplied also at a later stage. So the solution would be, as I said, small scale is not always good. So rather than equipment ownership, it could be custom hiring. It should be services provider. Government schemes like small submission on agriculture mechanization or agri infrastructure fund. So these are some of the alternatives which are providing funds for custom hiring kind of services. Quality and appropriate machine. Not that everything should be made of mild steel. We have to see that advanced materials are also used for making this. Even the structure of the machines. Sensor and automation in handling. I have talked already. Concern for product quality and food safety. Now it will come. See, making anything at home is different and making anything at a large scale is different. And maintenance of quality and maintenance of food safety. is one of the major thing. Value addition to waste. Remember that any byproduct that is coming out agriculture or agro processing industry should be converted into high value compound. Then only it makes sense, and then only the profit can be increased. Empowering the stakeholders, everybody needs to be trained. This is one of the attempts that CTI has taken, that empowering the students and some of the entrepreneurs who are in the audience. But this needs to be done at a larger scale and very frequently, and ultimately sharing of resources. And this is again an example of this particular program, that the resources available in ICAR, resources available in other agriculture universities, they are being used, human resources like me, Dr. Das and Dr. Chauhan. So we are being used. We have to share at some other point when we conduct these programs, we would be using your faculty as our resource person. With this, thank you very much. My email address is given here. You are always welcome to interact with me on this issue. And my presentation in PDF form has been shared with CTA. Anybody who wants that presentation can take it from organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable information regarding the queuing theory. I hope it will be, it will definitely help all of us.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you, Dr. Nachiket, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to excuse because I have another meeting to attend physically.
No problem,
So if you kindly permit, and all the best to Dr. Das and also Dr. Chauhan for their lectures. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for delivering very nice and very useful lecture, sir.
Sir, actually, Nachiket sir is having a very important meeting at Delhi, and morning only he used to visit to came to Delhi. That is the reason he is leaving. Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot, sir.
स्पेशल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर नचिकेत बिकॉज लास्ट में वो यहाँ रहेंगे नहीं स्क्रीन पे इसलिए एंड वेरी हाई ग्रेटिट्यूड फॉर स्पेयरिंग हिज वैल्यूएबल टाइम थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We have with us Professor Sanjay K. Das, sir. He has been working in Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, Bhubaneswar, in different capacities since 1989, and as Dean, Faculty of Agriculture Engineering since June 2017. He has also served as Dean Students Welfare of the University during 2018-21. Dr. Das has handled 8 externally funded projects and contributed significantly to teaching, research, and extension in the field of agriculture engineering. He has more than 70 research publications, more than 140 popular articles, 7 books with ISBN, and 12 manuals to his credit. He is the chairman of the Technology Management Cell of the university and the director of Krishi Kalinga Innovation Foundation set up by OUAT. As a member of different state-level committees, he has contributed immensely for the development of food processing and farm mechanization sector in the state. He has been a member of many national and state-level committees, which include the RAC, QRT, and the PRTs, constituted by the ICR for different institutions, universities, and research projects. He has visited countries like Israel, Germany, Netherlands, US, and Canada under different professional assignments. He has received many awards, recognitions for his professional contributions, which include the Samantha Chandrasekhar Award of Government of Odisha, Fellow of ISAE Commendation Medal, and the Best Teacher Award of OUAT during 2008. I welcome you, sir, for your address, for your deliberations.
Thank you so much. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are perfectly audible, sir.
And my slide is also visible, sir.
Yes, visible.
Okay. Thank you so much. So esteemed Dr. Sharma, the Dean of Research of MPUAT, esteemed Deans, Dr. P.K. Singh ji, Dr. N.K. Jain ji, and Dr. Kotwaliwale, I do not know whether he's still here or not, Dr. Chauhan, Dr. Nepalia, Jain sir, and all the esteemed teachers of CTI and all the worthy attendees. I am so grateful to Dr. S.K. Jain sir and his team for giving me this opportunity to speak on this occasion, not only because I have the opportunity to speak to the students, but also because I will be primarily speaking in an event organized by my alma mater. So that is very, very important for me. Well, when Dr. Nachiket is a speaker in any forum, the next speaker usually has very limited boundary to speak. However, when Dr. emphasized on and so nicely described the innovative products and processes, so I'll be primarily sharing my inputs as they are commonly available around us, but often we do not recognize these opportunities. And keeping in mind that mostly students form the major part of the audience, I'll also fine-tune my talk in that direction. Okay, so when we talk about the post-harvest management and value addition, as Dr. Nachiket was mentioning, basically we are interested to set up an enterprise. So food processing is not for home consumption. Food processing is for marketing. Food processing is for entrepreneurship. So remember, when the product is going to the market, it has to be in the desired form, in the desirable form of packaging, in the desired quantity, the desirable quality, and at the end, it is also very, very important that it should be sold in the desirable price. Many different types of the products are available in the market, but if we do not meet any of the important parameters, so that is going to fail in the market. And what is the objective of food processing? All of us know. We basically are interested to reduce the losses. We are interested to maintain the quality or to supply better quality produce to the consumers, to have a variety of the products, and never forget about the more income and employment generation associated with food processing. And when we achieve all these things, also we are trying to solve some of the national challenges of food and nutritional security, increasing in the farm gate prices, increase in the rural income, which is very, very important from the present context of view, more crop and more diversified crops, and ultimately food processing also helps for the conversion of waste or co-products to wealth. Now, when we talk about processing, let's not forget about the different types of the losses which normally occur for the foods. For example, if we talk about the fruits and vegetables and the grains, it can be loss of moisture, wilting and shriveling, loss of carbohydrates, vitamins, proteins, and other essential nutrients and micronutrients. Physical damages can occur through pests, diseases, etc. Quality loss can also be there because of the physiological disorders. There may be fiber development in crops like ginger, in crops like beans. There may be greening of the potatoes. There may be sweetness loss to the peas. There may be sprouting. So like this, many different types of the losses can occur to the perishables, and same is also true for the grains. And let's not forget that the crop loss accumulates at every phase of the post-harvest value chain. And particularly in the situation like India, it is very, very acute in the supply chain. Losses during the food production chain are at different stages in developing countries and in Western countries. In the Western countries, huge amount of losses occurs on the dining table, on the table. But in our situations, it's primarily the post-harvest losses before it really comes to the market. So for that, it is very, very important to understand and identify the strengths and limitations of the capacity of the farmers, infrastructure, market, and so many parameters are there to meet the challenges. So with this much of background, today we'll be discussing about some issues related to the post-harvest management and value addition, entrepreneurship in durables processing and value addition, and also we'll be discussing about the perishables processing and value addition, food packaging and storage options, some opportunities for the value chain management, and little bit. I understand that Dr. Chauhan will be speaking more on the support system. I will be having only 2 to 3 slides on the support system. Well, dear friends, when we talk about the post-harvest operations, basically they can be categorized, and Dr. Nachiket also emphasized that processing and value addition and storage and preservation are 2 important domains of post-harvest management. And when we talk about primary processing, secondary processing, and tertiary processing, so they occur at different stages. And at each stage of processing, let us not forget that value is added to the product, and employment generation is also there at different stages. So when we're talking about the entrepreneurship development, so you can target any commodity at the initial stage, which can be primary processing, or maybe at secondary stage, collection of the materials from the primary processing centers for further value addition in secondary processing, or maybe collection of the materials from the secondary processing centers for tertiary processing. So this is very, very important to understand and realize the scopes existing for any specific commodity at different stages of the supply chain, or a better what could be value chain. For example, I can tell you some of the primary value addition of the grains or the durables can be sorted products, cleaned products, dried products, and there may be also operations like mixing and grinding, packaging, which will be adding value, but they can be taken as primary value addition. And secondary value addition can be something like puffing, popping, flaking, extrusion, baking, fermentation. And let's not forget that the raw materials for the secondary value added products are obtained from the primary processing industries. And subsequently, you can also go for other types of products subsequently by blending the secondary value added products like extruded products or so on. Let us talk with some examples how these things really happen, and can we think about any role of ours in this chain of primary, secondary, or processing or tertiary processing industries. This is a sequence of developments or evolutions of the rice processing industries. All of us know in 1960s we had small handheld haulers. In 70s or late 70s we had modern rice mills, so-called, where we had the rubber roll seller, cone polisher, and other auxiliary equipment. And now the machines which were called modern rice mills in the 80s or till late 90s are called obsolete machines. And now we are having still more sophisticated machines which are known as modern rice mills. And the investments can be starting from 20 lakhs rupees to maybe around 4 crores of rupees only for the equipment. And at the same time, we are also having single pass rice mills. The investment could be around some 3 to 4 lakhs rupees for the equipment, or even smaller than that, even up to 1.2 or 1.5 lakhs rupees for the single pass rice mills. Now, the basic objectives of these rice milling machines are to prepare the rice for the market. And remember, when we are going for the domestic market or international market, definitely we have to be more specifically concerned about the quality of the materials which are produced from our mills. And same thing, when we are talking about the rice mills, we cannot ignore about the different infrastructures which are required for conditioning. Conditioning can be parboiling, conditioning can be curing, and also dried products. And also, when we talk about the secondary value-added products, a huge many opportunities are available. And as Dr. Nachiket was mentioning, nowadays the consumer preferences for the foods are changing. With more of family incomes, we are also going to the diversified food consumption habits. So many types of different food products can be obtained from the primary processing or secondary processing of paddy or rice. The list is many, as you can see. So many types of food products can be made available through the different types of the food processing setups or industries. And at the same time, let me tell you that when we talk about the rice as a single crop, so there are many other types of equipment which are also required. Suppose, for example, here I have tried to mention a few, like the roasters, like the rolls which are used for the preparation of the flaked rice, like the conditioning units. And when we talk about the rice, we should not forget about the economics of the rice mill, and which is incomplete without proper utilization of the rice husk and rice bran. So in that situation, proper utilization of the rice husk and proper utilization of rice bran is also important. So what I wanted to say with these few slides on a case study of rice is that it's not only the preparation of the rice from the paddy, but also several types of other associated industries can be thought of, are possible with rice as a single crop. And at the same time, we are also having shortage of equipment manufacturers in a country like India. Let me tell you that equipment manufacturers with good quality of equipment have been a prime concern for all of us. So if you are going for the value-added products as an enterprise, that is fine. But at the same time, we can also consider having a setup for the manufacture of the processing equipment, which is also very, very relevant in a country like ours. Similarly, if I talk about the pulse processing, the pulse processing can be done with small single pass pulse mills. The equipment or investment can be starting from 1.5 lakhs to maybe 4 lakhs, or to very large capacity pulse mills where the investment will be more than 30 lakhs only for the equipment. Quality is very, very important. And as all of us know, that it's not only the machines which decide the quality, it is also the processing parameters. It's also the pre-conditioning. It is also the curing. It is also proper drying, which are very, very important, and where we stand perfectly fitting into the system because we are qualified engineers. Small dal mills are also available. Like this, I have taken, for example, the dal mill developed by the CFTRI Mysore. The right one is the dal mill developed by CIA Bhopal, and the bottom one, PKB Akola dal mill. So these types of mills are also available for small scale processing of dals. And if I talk about the investment for a small capacity dal mill, let's say 100 kg per hour, so you can see the total cost of the machine is not too high. And at the same time, if you are going for addition of a dryer or maybe elevator, the total cost of the machine will be around 5 lakhs rupees for a small dal milling unit of 100 kg per hour. But this is not the end of the story. So when I talk about a small capacity dal mill, so mostly we primarily think about using human labor for different operations. So if you go for a little bit more mechanization, the cost can be higher. Similarly, if I talk about the enterprise opportunities in oilseed processing, again, the oils can be processed with different types of presses. Solvent extraction units are also plentifully available in a country like ours. And the cost of the solvent extraction plants can be very, very high. But the recent trend in our country is to have cold pressed oils. And for cold pressing of the oil, several small capacity machines are also being manufactured. And let me tell you that in the last 3 to 5 years, the number of the manufacturers for cold pressed oil mills, or which you can say power ghanies, they have exponentially increased in different states of the country. So where there is an opportunity not only for the processing and preparation of the oil and as well as the utilization of the auxiliary co-products, but at the same time, number of manufacturers, as I mentioned, they're increasing. That means there is also opportunity for entering into the business of fabrication of such type of equipment. And if I talk about the cost of machines, again, for a small capacity oil mill, in 24 hours, if the milling capacity will be 3 metric tons only. So you can see, it's not a huge amount. The total cost can be close to 4 to 5 lakhs in the present scenario. Similarly, when we talk about extraction of oil or preparation of the pulses, so automatically the byproducts need to be properly thought of for proper disposal. otherwise the economics is at stake. So many different types of value-added products can be prepared from the pulses. It can be besan, laddus, cakes, vadi, etc., papad. And even from the oil seeds, we have opportunities of preparing different types of food and feed materials, extruded products, winning food. And all of us know that, suppose for example, normal oil seeds like mustard will be having around 30 to 35% oil. The recovery will be less than 25%. So the remaining part of the oil as well as the proteins, they remain still with the oil cake, which can be better utilized as an ingredient for subsequent preparation of food and feed materials. Maize is another crop of importance where the maize can be converted to corn flour, semolina, cake, grits, starch, glucose, gluten, meal, like this. And popcorn is very, very famous, very, very common for all the young generation. Cornflakes. And the value-added products from ragi include the pulp grains, powdered ragi, malted ragi, baked product, etc. Now, actually, the recent trend has been to go back to the nutritional crops like ragi and other millets. And now people have started realizing the importance of such type of nutritional crops, and the governments like Odisha, Karnataka, and I hope in Rajasthan also, we are emphasizing a lot on the production of such type of millets or nutritional crops. So the crops production can only be remunerative only if the value addition chain is also established for these crops. So that is why it is very, very important that to support the maximization of the production of these crops, the food processing setup also should be optimal. And when I talk about any food processing industry or enterprise, it is also very, very important. The byproducts has to be properly utilized. Whether this is the husk and bran from the rice mill, or the husk obtained from the pulse milling industries, or the polish extracts, or the cattle feed or the oil cake, which is obtained from the oilseed processing industries. So there are many opportunities for the preparation of value-added products in the form of particle board, in the form of oil from the rice bran, in the form of different types of cutlery items. As you can see here, they have been prepared from husk. And silica, rice husk is a good source of silica, then gamma original, and many essential nutrients. They can be prepared from co-products. I should not use the word waste products because for me, there is nothing in the food industry which can be called waste. So the co-products and byproducts can be properly utilized. So while talking about the food processing industries, and we're talking about the enterprise opportunities for the food processing, so there is also good opportunity for entering into a venture of managing the supply chain of the food grains. For example, we require transit stores in between the farmer and the consumer in farm pack houses, rural market assemblies, wholesale markets, retailer stores, etc. So if we can manage or intervene into these areas where we have the provision of storing and properly regulating, Dr. Nachiket was emphasizing on a very particular word, if I'm not wrong, that is innovative automation with brilliance. So this type of systems can be integrated into supply chain management. And let's not forget that there is good scope of fabrication or manufacture of the grain storage structures in the supply chain. And Dr. Nachiket was giving good examples of the different types of innovative storage structures which can be integrated into the Indian supply chain of food grains. Manufacture of equipment I have been emphasizing. So this is very, very important that when the food processing will be strengthened, so there will also be need of manufacturers and good manufacturers. It's not essentially true that manufacturing should be only investing crores and crores of rupees. Small scale manufacturers, for example, for preparation of good quality of cleaning machines. Small scale manufacturers for preparation of the solar dryers for the on-farm drying situations. Small scale manufacturers for preparation of the roller conveyors or maybe bucket elevators. So they can also be very, very helpful to the support system for the growth of the food processing industries. some sophisticated machines. And let me tell you that the photographs which I have put here, all these machines have been manufactured or are manufactured in our country. So let's think little bit out of the box. Let us think little bit to target also to large scale industries where we can cater to the need of different segments to expand our market portfolio. While discussing about the food grains, let's also little bit talk about the processing opportunities for the fruits and vegetables. I need not speak into the different technologies available for the processing of the fruits and vegetables. Many traditional technologies are available, starting from the preparation of the pickles, starting from the preparation of the different types of fermented products, starting from the preparation of the dehydrated products. And there are also advanced technologies like reverse osmosis, ultrafiltration, irradiation, microwave treatment, all those things. The list is very, very large. And the product profile is also very, very large. So what I mean to say is that whenever we are thinking of any type of processing enterprise, our thought process will be in two directions. One, it can be process-based food processing industry or product-based food processing industry. For example, suppose I will be talking about a tomato-based food processing industry, the product-based. So I can have different lines for the preparation of the juice, puree, paste, ketchup, chutneys, cocktail, like this. But if my intention will be process-based, for example, I will be having a vegetable dehydration plant. So in that situation, I can dry different types of vegetables or say fruits in different seasons. So in that situation, my product or my plant can be utilized throughout the year. So remember that whenever we are thinking about any type of industry or enterprise, so you have to plan accordingly, depending on whether I'm going for a process-based enterprise or a product-based one. For example, though the list is huge or extensive, often some commodities which we call waste can also be channelized into very high grade value added products. One example is the cashew apple. Normally, once you take the nut out, cashew apple is thrown away mostly in the forest areas, or sometimes it is often disposed by paying a cost. But it can be channelized for the preparation of different types of the products like ready to serve beverages, jellies, jams, squash, pickles, etc. Similarly, if we talk about the pineapple, now it has become very, very commercial product. So it can be also channelized or used for the preparation of the squash, RTS rings, dehydrated products, canned products like this. And the pineapple rings in sugar solution is an excellent product to be canned. Similarly, stone apple, which normally we call bale. So they can also be converted to or added, value added to the preparation of jam, RTS, murabbas, squash, toffees. These are all photographs of our products developed in our lab. Then the ginger can also be prepared or converted into different types of value-added products like the ginger candy, ready-to-serve beverages, spice additives like dehydrated products. Then ginger sushi, it's a fermented product, ginger honey, ginger oleoresin, ginger extract, like this. So the last two products actually also are from our lab. Actually, this we developed under one NAIP project on value chain of ginger and ginger products. So this is another photograph of utilization of the mahua flower, which is normally fermented and used by the tribal people, which is normally prevented or prohibited, but they can also be value added. Similarly, some other common value-added products. These are very common things now. Maybe before 5 or 6 years, it was not so common. Now, dehydrated onion, dehydrated jackfruit, these are very, very common. Similarly, some of the fish products, when we're talking about the food processing enterprises, we should not forget about fish in a state like Odisha, or in India also, we are having a large coastal area. Value-added milk products. Many different types of the value-added milk products are available. When I was talking about fish, because fish is a very important product in Odisha, but once I realized that I'll be speaking to most of the students from Rajasthan, so immediately I had to put the slide for the milk. because I understand how milk is a very important commodity in Rajasthan. So this list is unlimited really. And when I talk about the milk, in Western countries, the milk is supplied at different fat ratings. Milk is available with 0.1% fat, 0.5% fat, 1.0% fat, 1.5% fat, like this. So that means under the standard milk also, the milk is available in different grades. Similarly, cream, butter, buttermilk, ghee, like this. So these are some of the opportunities. And when we talk about the milk processing, even the establishment and management of a good quality ice cream manufacturing system can really add to the business. Let's not forget about the Baskins and Robbins or the quality. Similarly, ghee. All of us know when we go to the market, we often require a specific brand of the ghee, the tested brand. So this is very, very important that any single product also taken out of this list can be a good enterprise options. And this is also important when we talk about milk or fish or the fruits and vegetables. Packaging is very, very important. Packaging, you know, it's for containment, it's for protection. All these things are okay, relevant. But it is also very, very important that packaging adds value to the product by enticing the computer, by increasing the marketability. So this is also very, very important in addition to the protection and containment. And when we talk about the grains, many different types of the packaging facilities have been presently available. I am not going into the details. So proper packaging systems, preparation of the proper packaging materials, scientific way of preparing the packaging materials with the desirable oxygen, carbon dioxide, and other light permeabilities. Similarly, when we're talking about the gunny bag or flexible bags also, we have to target all those things when we are going for the manufacture of the packaging materials. So manufacturing and printing of the packaging materials is another very important sector, which is very closely associated with the food processing industries. Some other food packaging options, relatively new concepts. As you all know, I am not going into the details. Controlled atmosphere, modified atmosphere, vacuum packaging, shrink packaging, all those things. So these are very, very important technologies and gradually gaining market in Indian context. So it's not only that I am going to prepare the food product, put in a smart package. It is also very, very important to prepare the smart packaging sensors, packaging materials, which can be, or the foods and vegetable processing industries can be our buyers. This particular important slide, modified atmosphere storage of rice. So this type of modified atmosphere packaging or storage system for rice, they have been developed and they have also been widely practiced. And as I mentioned, in India also presently there are manufacturers of such type of packaging systems or packaging materials and which are recommended for the packaging of grains. Dr. Nachiket is not here. I remember that in 2006 or so, Nachiket and myself, we had proposed one project proposal on modified atmosphere packaging of grains, which was submitted to NAIP. But that time, actually, somehow it was not considered with a reasoning that modified atmosphere packaging of grains cannot be really technically feasible. But now you see this type of packaging systems are presently available and they are being commercially utilized. Some other enterprise options in the primary processing and value addition, on-farm sorting and grading, pre-cooling and on-farm storage, primary processing stations, appropriate packaging, minimal processing. Minimal processing is a new emerging market now in our Indian situations. Minimal processing means you take the products, process it as minimum as possible just to extend the shelf life to a desirable extent, and then send it through the cold chain to the marketing centers. And they are being gradually popular for the working people in the family where both of the earning members are working. On-farm storage and pre-cooling, such type of devices are also commercially available. And as I was mentioning, minimal processing can be different options will be there, cleaning and trimming. peeling, slicing, packaging, and ultimately, when I talk about the consumers, that provides convenience. When I talk about the person who prepares, that provides employment. When I talk about the city, that gives less city garbage because everything is done on the farm. And as I always say, this type of things, mostly food processing is suitable also for women. Cold chain logistics, very, very important. When we talk about the fruits and vegetable processing sectors, it is not only that the fruits and vegetable processing industries can help maintain the quality of the commodities and can add value. It is also very, very important that the commodities before reaching the food processing enterprise should be in desired condition, acceptable condition. And for that, the cold chain logistics is very, very important. And there is also huge support by the government for establishment and operation of the cold chain logistics. So dear friends, opportunities for value addition are plenty. But as Nachiket sir was mentioning, and I will also be reiterating, it's not only that the processing industry or processing enterprise has the whole responsibility of maintaining the quality of the produce. The product quality is also affected by the genetic factors of the varieties. The product quality is also affected by the cultural factors, treatments, etc. The product quality is also affected by the environmental factors. The product quality is also affected by the harvesting, like at what maturity level you are harvesting, what is the time you are harvesting, what is the method that you are harvesting, whether during the harvesting the commodity is getting any type of bruises or physical damages. These are very, very important. And the post-harvest activities we have been talking about, Dr. Nachiket talked about, and I've also been trying to emphasize on all these things. But let's not forget that it is very, very important that for the post-harvest activities to give us the best advantages of the commodities and the enterprises, the other subsequent things are also very, very relevant. So the complete value chain management is important. It is not only that we can think about only having the enterprise and get the return. So when I say complete value chain management is important, so one example I can show here. This is the value chain management of ginger. Again, this is a part of my project which I did. So as you can see, in the improved chain, we targeted starting from supply or sourcing of the elite planting material and scientific practices with the farmers, which was done through the farmer producer organizations. Then they were brought to the primary processing centers. So that means to minimize the losses from the point of harvest till it is primarily processed. Then from the primary processing centers, it could go to the retail market to the consumer, or there were secondary processing centers also, like dried ginger flakes or ginger powder or candies or ginger-based tissue. And subsequently, the tertiary processing center was also established, like the extraction plant, where high value-added products. I was mentioning about the ginger oleoresin. I was mentioning about the ginger extracts. So these were obtained. And subsequently, we also tried to link them with the domestic and international market. So whenever we are talking about any types of value addition system or any type of commodity, we have to be a little bit concerned about the quality of the product that we are getting. So this is how I differentiate between value addition and value chain. Value addition can be the change in form. Value addition can be change in time. For example, suppose I am getting the product, most of the cabbages during these months, but I want to sell them during the month of September where the cabbage production is very, very less. So I can store them in suitable devices and this change in time would fetch more return to me. Similarly, change in place, as Dr. Nachiket was also mentioning, I remember at some point of time, the production point is there, the consumption point is far up. Suppose now Odisha is producing a huge quantity of tomatoes. Now the tomato is mostly sold in thrown away prices. So I can send that to places like Rajasthan or maybe to Delhi or maybe to other places where the tomato is not really grown so plentifully. So this is value addition, and the value chain starting from the farmer to consumer, it is passing through several stages, and each stage is very, very important to be targeted so that there is no loss during the value chain. Food processing gives very good employment and return on investment. So these are some of the studies by Sifet Ludhiana. Dr. Nachiket would have asked the copyright permission for this slide. But anyway, so as you can see, so food processing really gives very good employment as compared to other types of industries. But it is more important that we are dealing with the business for supplying food to the people. So that is very, very important. We are dealing with the business of supplying employment to the rural people. That is very, very important. Economics is also very, very important. So when we talk about the economics of the enterprises, so the different types of inputs, human labor, the energy, these are very, very important. So I did not restrain myself from slowing this slide because I wanted to mention that there is also good opportunity for the manufacture of solar dryers as an industry, for the manufacture of solar pumps as an industry. And let's not forget that these are all essential systems in any food processing enterprise. So having said about all these opportunities in grain processing sector, in fruits and vegetable sector, in storage sector, in value chain sector, in manufacturer of equipment sector, and in other support systems like storage system. So there are different types of supports available. And as I promised, I will not be going into details because my next or this speaker, Dr. Chauhan, will be speaking all these things. But these are the different organizations which are there to support us, to support the farmers, to improve the quality of the production, to support the farmers associations, to reduce the time of marketing, to help in getting good price from the market, to the exporters, again to link and support, and also to food processors. And we are also there, the universities are also there working with the technologies with applied research. Different types of schemes are also available. And as I was mentioning, I will not be speaking into details, but this is now the PM formalization of micro food processing enterprises scheme. So this is very, very important scheme, which is now emphasizing on improving the status and number of the micro enterprises, and ultimately they are mostly targeting on the on-farm processing and value addition. When we talk about the micro enterprises, we are targeting on the on-farm processing and value addition. And one particular innovative concept on this is one district, one product. So that means, suppose for example, my district having banana, a major production is banana. So most of the processing units in this district will be having banana as the product or the raw material. So the marketing of the products will be easy, branding of the products will be easy, and the value chain will be more comfortable and easy. And as Dr. Nachiket was mentioning, and I think Sanjay Jain sir was mentioning, and also the Dean of Research sir was mentioning. So PMFME is being implemented in almost all the states of the country. And in Odisha, I am the nodal officer for the PMFME program. And in CTI also the PMFME scheme is operating. And I think Dr. Sanjay Jain sir and Dr. NK Jain sir are also very closely associated with this project. Similarly, in the different state governments also, there are different types of schemes. In the state agriculture policies, PMFME scheme came just 2 years before 2020, but this type of schemes have been operating before that also. And in addition, the other agencies like the National Horticulture Board, the agencies like NABARD, they're also having their different setups for supporting and promoting the food processing sectors in the country. Yes, this is what I was trying to mention. APIDA, NSB, NABARD, all those things, they're also there. But it's also very important that they're supporting marketing. Marketing support is very, very important, very, very vital. And the government also is trying to support the marketing to the maximum extent so that the exploitation to the small producers is not there. So while I will sum up my talk, so as I have been trying to emphasize, I will be repeating. The opportunities are plenty in the form of processing and value addition. The value addition can be in the form of primary processing, secondary processing, and tertiary processing. The waste utilization of waste products, but as I mentioned, waste is not a word for the food processing industries. So it should be utilization of co-products, manufacture of food processing machinery, value chain management, transportation and storage network, and also on-farm processing has a huge opportunity to venture into. And the government has been supporting, and now the processes are being simplified in the form of incentives and subsidies, in the form of infrastructure support, in the form of human resource development through trainings, incubation programs, etc., which will be discussed by the subsequent speaker under different schemes. And there are also loans. So now it's our responsibility to jump the hurdles and take the challenge to venture into the system. But when we are going to the system, please don't forget any process that are three components: the produce, the methodology of processing, and the equipment which will be required for processing. And the most important is good quality produce. You should not forget that. So once we have the good quality produce, then proper synchronization of the methods and equipment and proper management only can fetch a good product. And let us not forget that we are targeting a business. So good product is the only answer to good business. Well, thank you so much, sir. This is what I wanted to share with all of you. Post-harvest management, this is my slogan. I always say PHM for PHM. Post-harvest management is to combat poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to speak to all the eminent professors and faculty members of MPUAT and excellent listeners who have registered here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was a very wonderful deliberation from your side, covering whole of the post-harvest management and all the food groups, and from the raw material to the packaging and then to the marketing part and the schemes related. So that was indeed a wonderful presentation, and students must have gained a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank
For
you.
a nice presentation.
Thank you.
Moving forward.
Thank you, Das. You have given a actually new dimension of not only for the processing, but for the manufacturing of the equipment. And one of your junior alumni of our college is also actually engaged in the manufacturing of the machineries. You must be knowing Santosh Karale.
Okay.
He is in Maharashtra, and he is in a very good. He is preparing and manufacturing the very good process machineries. And definitely, you have given a very elaborative and very deliberate talk, and also you have summed up in a very effective manner, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
I do know you are also very busy and you have to actually rush to again Calcutta. But thanks a lot and accepting our invitation, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, I may also kindly be excused. I have another meeting with the Principal Secretary Agriculture now. So if you kindly permit, I would like to leave, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, Dean, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, Dr.
Sir.
And
Thanks.
NK, sir, please give a one or two lines, sir.
Sir is busy in some urgent work.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
From
Please
his side, he has conveyed his thanks to the speakers and especially to Sanjay sir for his wonderful deliberation on the theme. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, moving forward, we have another eminent speaker with us, Dr. P.M. Chauhan, sir. He has been alumni of CTA, and he is eminent research scientist in the field of renewable energy. He's received about 6 national awards and a recipient of 2 scholarships and author fellowships. He has more than 33 years of experience in the area of renewable energy and 15 years as professor and head in the Department of Renewable Energy, Junagadh Agriculture University. He is also in charge registrar and director of research, Dean PG Studies at the Junagadh Agriculture University. He has 11 sponsored research academic projects of more than 33 crores including the prestigious World Bank IDP NAHEP project. And he has released 18 technologies or the recommendations for the farmers of Gujarat. He has received patent and national award for development of foldable plastic box for transportation of fruits and vegetables. And he is the convener of Mera Gaon Mera Gaurav at Junagadh Agriculture University. And he has published more than 60 research papers in various national and international journals, 3 books, 10 chapters in books, 5 pamphlets, and 20 Gujarati articles for farmers. He is a member of 21 scientific committees, governing bodies, including Academic Council, Research Council, Board of Studies, Library Council, and member of editorial board of scientific journals, PRT, and member of ICAR accreditation. He is the visiting faculty of University of California, Davis, and he has done his 1-year postdoctoral research work on effect of shading material on greenhouse, microclimate, and energy conservation and production characteristics of cut flower roses. Sir, I, on behalf of the whole MPUAT family, welcome you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Shall I start my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Singh Saab, the Dean of the college, Sanjay Jain, my good friend at Department of Processing and Food Engineering, Dr. N.K. Jain, the Dean of the Dairy Science College. I especially thankful to the Dr. N.S. Rathod Saab, the Vice Chancellor of the MPUAT, Dr. Sharma Saab, the Director of Research of MPUAT, all the friends and dear students. The topic is given to me is government policies and the schemes so far in food processing sector. Friends, we have the lot of advantage in agriculture, and therefore, as Indian habits for eating the food is very, as you know, it's a warm food and very fresh food we are habitual for eating. But if you look around the world, then the lot of food processing activities are going on, and the world scenario, we are quite behind in food processing sector, and therefore the government is doing a lot of initiation and giving the good advantage to the industries for setting up the industries, and as well as if there is any difficulties, then the regulations, improving the regulations, and giving the financial incentives to these industries. Friends, we know that we are almost more than 132 billion population, and or 132 crore population, 1.32 billion population. Out of this, 30% is middle class, or maybe a more middle class, and this middle class income is expected to be 1.5 times or double by 2025, because the middle class family having a lot of aspirations, and they are interested to use the whatever the new technologies or new foods are coming in market. They always like that changes. So this food processing industry is, we can say that, is mostly dedicated to the middle class families of the India, as well as a good potential for the export point of view. Why we are emphasizing on this food processing industries business, or presently the government also putting the lot of efforts behind this food processing industries, because a government initiative is to create a good environment so that the food processing industry or other industries can do their business without any hassle. And as well as the government is also doing a lot of efforts on new infrastructures, particularly the mega food projects. Then the economy is also very open nowadays, and we can trade anywhere in the world. And there is a lot of knowledge is given to the entrepreneurs so that they can do their business in a world level. There, every year, the government is also reforming their regulatory conditions, and as much as possible, government is trying to make it suitable for the entrepreneurs and as well as to do the business, easy business. Fiscal reforms also a very important, and therefore the government is also taking care of that. Friends, India has very good fruit production. As we know that we are having a very good the cereal production in terms of the rice or wheat, as well as the pulses also we are having a good production. Then the fruits and vegetables, milk, and seafood productions. So we are having a very good fruit productions in almost all sectors, but the processing is point of view we are still lacking, and therefore we are emphasizing on the food processing industries. About 52% of the cultivable land is available for the cultivation in India as compared to 11% in the world. So this is our advantage, or we have a advantageous position as compared to world, that we can cultivate almost all crops, and including the fruits, vegetables, cereals, pulses, and fish products, poultry products, meat products. Lot of products we are making that, but we are still behind of the world, and we have the 15 major climates that is the existing in the world, which is available in India. And the 46 out of the total 60 types of the soils we have in India, and we have a lot of plenty of solar sunshine hours, so that we can generate the food without any climatic effect, so that we have very advantageous position in food production. And this food production, as you know, that in warehouses or storages, and government has to procure at different places, and there are a lot of problems in storage, and therefore it is very convenient that if you can go for the food processing, then this will be helpful for the storage point of view, as well as to reduce the food production losses point of view also. As I said that we are first in milk. In last year, we have produced almost 199 million tons of the milk, and it is expected that it will grow by 13 to 15% in the coming years, as well as the huge opportunity for technology, automation, and integration in this sector also, or for this dairy products also. We are the second largest global producer of the fruits and vegetables, about 300.26 million tons of the fruit production, that is of the 12% of the world. And we have the major vegetables like potato, tomato, onion, cauliflower, cabbage, and fruits like mango, the 60% of the total world production we are producing, and banana 12% of the world, apple, orange, sapota, pear, pomegranate. And however, in the processing level, it's only 2% in the area of fruits and vegetables. Similarly, in cereals and grains, we are the second in rice and wheat production, and largest exporter of the cereal products. and offers a huge opportunity for milling technology and upgradation, automation, and integration, fortification, and like that kind of the technology. Second product, we are producer in the world in fish, and processing level of marine products is about 23%, and offers a huge opportunity in cold chain, export, packaging, innovation, product, etc. So, and as well as in egg and meat, we are third in egg and fifth in meat production. And these are also a very good scope for the processing sector. So why we are interested in processing, because it is not only that we have a very good food production, but we have also a more than 55% of the population is depending on the food agriculture and the agriculture related activities. And if the food processing unit that will act as a linkage between the agriculture and industries, then we can have a very good employment opportunity in the food processing sector also, or food processing industry can absorb a major share of the workers from this agriculture sector. Then as we know that we have a huge quantity of losses, particularly in godowns and the temporary storage structures, and as well as the at farm level also. And therefore, to reduce this to reduce this food wastage, it is very necessary that we can have a food processing and we can give the more food to our people. Then this food processing or processed food requires the less space in the storage as compared to raw foods, so that we can store this food very effectively. And the processed food can be exported. That will help to earn the foreign exchange. Friends, as I said that we are quite behind in food processing, and if you see that in a world level, then the Malaysia is processing almost 80%, Philippines about 78%, Brazil 70%, USA 65%, China 23%, and we are 10 or less than 10%. And if we see in India, in different processing sectors, then dairy, we are about 35% is the dairy products we are producing. Then the meat is about 21% in processing level, and poultry 6%. Then the fruits and vegetables is about 2.5%, and marine products is about 23%. The fish and all this is about 23%. So this we have the number of the food processing industries at present, and we have the lot of food product processing nowadays going on, and as well as we are also exporting these products. But there are still we have the large scope. So at present, so far the available food industries, the 13% are large scale units, 75% home cottage, and 12% are medium or small scale units are available. And in India, if we see that the farm gate prices are 25% in India, that means whatever the value of the product from the farm is, that costing is about 25% at the farm level, and remaining is at the transportation and all that. Whereas in case of the developed countries, other developed countries, that they have the 60 to 70% is the farm gate prices. So we have very good advantage on the farm gate price point of view also, because at farm level production where cost is we have the low cost value, as well as the transportation, and that we have the more cost as compared to the other countries. So, but we have the difficulties at that we have 5 to 7 intermediary between the farmers and the consumer, whereas in US it is only 2 to 3%. So that the earlier also the government has introduced the 3 bills in that this was the one of the major reason that intermediary, that is between the farmers and consumers, they are very large numbers, and the cost is shared by this intermediary, and the farmers and the consumers are getting very less. If we see the subsectors, opportunity in processing and value addition, then there are the new product development. There are a lot of good scope for the new product development, including the 45 products, then the health food, traditional Indian food products, and convenience food products, and a new packaging technology for enhancing the shelf life, retaining the taste and texture, easy to handle and space efficiently. So this is we have a good scope in new product development as well as the packaging technologies. We have also a very good scope for infrastructure development. Government has initiated in terms of the mega food parks and agro processing clusters. Also is giving emphasis on for the cold chain facilities, frozen and all this kind of the products, and modern pack houses for fruits and vegetables, as well as the logistic, providing the logistic in various sectors. So there are the lot of opportunity in these sectors also in development of infrastructure or a logistic development. So from the farm to the plate or consumer, there are the post-harvest operations. There are the opportunity in post-harvest operations in on-farm. There are the opportunity in secondary processing at catchment in that, and a high-level processing, that is the factory at factory level, and then the marketing and the advertisement and all that. So a lot of scope is there in food processing industries, and therefore the policy and schemes of the in this industries are very important, and the new entrepreneurs, they are definitely looking towards the government for different incentives in this industry, as well as what are the different friendly policy, so that they can do their entrepreneurship very in a friendly environment. There are as said, that there are the number of industries are aware, that have a good scope. There's cereal and pulse milling, fruit, vegetable processing, milk and milk products, beverages, fish and poultry, eggs and products, meat and meat products. So all these different types of food processing industries now is coming up, and there are the very good scope and different states, and there are the number of different states having a different schemes for the supportive schemes and the different policies. Friends, still, if you can, when you see that the APMC and the market, there are the transportation we can see this is our scenario in transportation. Even I have visited a lot of several APMCs in Gondal, a large APMC in Rajkot, where there is a huge commodities or farm products production they are procuring. But the transportation, if you find that fruits and vegetables, or maybe cereals, spices, and all that, still we are transporting in a large quantity in gunny bags, as well as the loose packaging, and you will find there is a lot of losses during this transportation. So it's a very good opportunity for the transportation sector also, and we have to develop a suitable logistic for the transportation in this area. As said, that technology and equipment, that new technology in processing, storage, logistic, packaging, energy efficient technology, food testing labs, all these are required a very good infrastructure, and therefore the the enthusiastic entrepreneurs are encouraged by the government to enter in this kind of the sectors. Not only the processing, but the development of the technology and the quality testing and all these labs that is also needed to for the establishment, and so that the consumer can get the a safe food product as well as the quality food products. The packaging and material and machinery is also getting a boost from the government policies and initiatives. And there are a very good packaging technologies nowadays available, as well as the machineries for the packaging technologies also available. And there are the another very important area is the R&D and skill development area, where there is a government is putting a lot of emphasis on skill development for the students as well as for the youth. And there are a lot of skill development centers, and where the youth can be trained and can be encouraged for the starting their startups and they become for becoming the entrepreneurs. Similarly, there are the opportunity in a retail sectors, and it's about more than $600 billion US dollars. There are these probabilities or scope, and it is growing at the rate of the 7.5%, and it is estimated that it constitute about 60% of the total food food processing industry. So retail sector is also a very good opportunity, in that a lot of apps are coming up for the purchasing or for the consumer point of view. And our students have also developed the online chain for the consumers, and a good apps that is for organic food production or like that they have developed, and they are getting a good benefit for that of that. And there are the opportunities in unrecognized sectors, like there are the number of the sectors which are at present even they are not that much of recognized, like for the farmers itself having a organic farming products, and they are making their FPO, and they are directly selling the products to the consumers. Similarly, there are the number of other industries who are working at the household industries. They are not that much of recognized industries. If we can put it into a cluster or put it to a recognized way, then they will get more benefit. And it is our strength that we can do that kind of the job than this large scale of rural population or rural youth or rural women that can be helpful, that can be helped with this kind of the initiation. National Food Processing Policy. This was launched to develop the food processing sector, and this aims to address the gaps hampering the growth of the sector, and also policy aims to increase the investment in the sector by 6 times by 2035. So this is the national food processing policy is launched, and its aim is that to make the 6 times of the food processing enhancement as compared to present days by 2035. So the reason behind the food processing policy is at the producer level and consumer level. If you see the producer level, there are a lot of field losses, and then they means that farm level there are a lot of field losses. Then the pre-processing level, then the transport, storage, processing, and packaging, marketing, wastage by the consumer. So in most of the developing countries, the relatively high losses in an initial part of the value chain, whereas in the rich countries, it is a later stage where the food losses are more. So in our case, we have the high food losses in a field, in a pre-processing, transport, storage, and at the most in a processing and packaging. Whereas in case of the rich countries, there are the wastage at the marketing and the wastage at by consumer level. So we have to take care. We have to take care about that. How we can reduce this food losses, and therefore this aiming is by the food processing policy. So the reason behind this food processing policy establishment is the multiplicity of the laws and regulatory authorities, lack of participation of cooperative institutions, PRIs and NGOs, adherence to quality and SPS measures under WTO, little value addition in food processing industries, that is 7% around, and 75% of the sector comprises of small scale and unrecognized sector. So to uplift this, all this, the participants or stakeholders, it is very necessary that food processing policy should be in favor of this, so that they can do the business in a very cordial way. So in this, what are the incentives? So capital investment in subsidy form, or new food processing universities, processing units. So how the food processing units are helped by the providing the capital investment as well as the subsidy. Then the incentives for the technology upgradation in existing units. So whatever the present units are available, maybe a Ghani, maybe a Huller, maybe a different we can say the old technologies, how to upgrade these technologies and so that the efficient way the processing can be done, as well as the quality of the food product can also be improved. Then the low GST rates on the food processing machines, and electricity duty and land related concessions. So all these are accommodated, or all these are taken care in the proposed for the food processing policy. So the what is the promotion for the employment? So to encourage and facilitate the farmers to set up the food processing units. So through this particular policy point of view, as we know, the vocal for local, so that whatever the farm products that is they will produce at the local level, they should be processed, and therefore the farmers can be given an advantage in this kind of the policy. To promote the food processing training come incubation centers, a lot of incubation centers have come up, and a lot of trainings are going on for the different startup students, and they are encouraged for this setting up the industries, and they are encouraged for the entrepreneurship development. So a lot of trainings and the incubation centers are developed by the government. And to start the new course and conduct the research in food technology and management in universities, a lot of new courses and research also coming up, and the universities are benefited through the new technology in a food processing sector. So they are introducing a new courses, and as well as taking up the lot of research activities in this area. What does the policy propose for supply chains? So for the supply chains, that is the policies are identifying and developing the and promoting the production cluster and agriculture processing clusters. So, and to support the development of logistic infrastructure, this includes cleaning and packaging facilities. So in supply chains, a lot of clusters are developed so that the supply chains can get a benefit of this. The saline features. So these are the 5 saline features, including the creating, enabling the environment. So very cohesive environment to be created using this national food processing policy is so it will help to create the very enabling environment so that the entrepreneurs can get the guidance, can get the finance assistance and the technical assistance, skill development and everything that so that easily, so that kind of the environment is to be created. Then infrastructure development. Under this policy, there are a lot of infrastructure development is proposed, and government is at present even there is a circulation from the government that about 343 mega food park is to be developed in a country with a very good infrastructure, and so that the entrepreneurs who establish the industry there, they cannot feel any problem in installation of this industry. Backward linkage and forward linkage, then special provisions also made in this kind of the policy. So what is the as said that enabling the environment? That means the rationalizing the tax structure, whatever the tax at present GST or like that, that is the rationalize, and the fiscal initiatives that will be make easy for the entrepreneurs. Harmonization and simplification of food laws. There are the lot of earlier the laws or at present also some laws are very complicated laws. Particularly in oil processing industries and oilseed processing industries, as well as the some food industries. So that how to make simplification of these laws is also a aim of the food policy. The market creation for food for the processed food, how to create the market for different types of the food, maybe a organic food, maybe a natural farming food, or from the other sectors, maybe how to create the market for this, and then all this are to be taken also care by this policy. Investment promotion, the as said that 100% FDI is there at present, and as well as there is a domestic investment, how to improve, that is also a one of the policy promotion. So if you see that in a proactive policy support, the 100% FDI through the automatic route in food processing, 100% FDI in food retail for the food products manufacture and produce in India. So from any corner of the world, anywhere from the world, one can invest here, and you can develop the industry here. So credit food processing unit can avail preferable rates under the priority sector leading, and a special fund of rupees 2,000 crores with NABARD for designated food parks and processing units. Now, it was earlier, but now recently also the government has announced that there is a good amount of the food for the food parks. There are the good amount of the investment is to be done by the government in and the budgetary provision has been made. Regulatory reforms, as said, that fiscal reforms and proactive state investment policy. So states also nowadays are also putting liberal policies for attracting the investment in this sector. 100% income tax deduction on capital expenditure for cold chain and warehouses. There are 100% tax deduction, income tax deduction on profit of for new food processing preservation and packaging units. Also, there is a income tax deduction. Then service tax exemptions on pre-cooling and preconditioning, ripening, waxing, retailing, packaging, labeling, fruits and vegetables. Then construction, erection, commissioning, and installation of post-harvest storage infrastructure and cold storage. So good incentives are given by the government in terms of the tax exemption in a food processing sector, and as well as the cold chains and all that. So in a food processing as well as the transportation and cold storages, and there are the good incentives are given. Then the excise duty reduction 10 to 6% on machinery for food processing and 12.5 to 6% on refrigerated containers. So there are the good excise duty reduction on the machineries and the containers. Basic custom duty reduced on refrigerated containers from 10 to 6% or 5%, and concessional custom duty on imported equipment. So if there is a imported equipments are to be installed, then also there is a custom duty, also a concession is there. In infrastructure development, development of back-end infrastructure to implement the latest technology of these sectors, and development of agro-food parks and food processing training institutes. So these are the some initiatives by the government that a lot of infrastructures are required for in the food processing industries, so that a back-end infrastructure or a latest technology or a training institutes and food parks. These are the new initiatives by the government in an infrastructure development. So at present, there are the 42 mega food parks available in country, and they have a very good facilities and fully developed plots are available for setting up fruits, including plug and play. So that you just there are these are the plots are fully developed roads, water connection, road connection, electricity connection, and then there is a different facilities available at this park. And just you have to set up the industry, and you don't have to worry for the different requirements that in terms of the transportation, the road, and the light and all that. Then the cold chains, 135 integrated cold chain projects with an investment of 500 million US dollars. It is also now the coming up, and government is doing in this a very good initiation. In backward linkages, the linkage between farmers and processors. That means government's effort is that how to create linkage between the farmers and processors. In a forward linkages, the processors and marketing. In a backward linkages, farmers and processors. Then the how to develop the future markets. That means different the markets to be developed for the suppose for the organic or this kind of the product, the market is required. So this if we can see that in Sikkim, and that there is some districts also now announced a very the whole district as a natural farming districts. The product from this farmers, they come to a market and it required a specific market, and therefore the development of this kind of the market is required, and the government is also giving initiation or give incentives to this kind of the market. They minimize the gap between farm gate price and final price. The very important point is the how to reduce the gap between the farm gate price and the consumer price. So that means the how to reduce the intermediary, the benefit by the different intermediators. And as I said that the total food the products that comes to the plate, the 75% goes to the intermediary, and only the 25% is the farm gate price. So how to reduce it? And at least it should be reverse, or we can say that it should be like 75% of the farm gate price of the final price. So this is the very important factor, and for that the farmers and the consumers are required to be linkages between the farmers and consumers to be established. The forward linkages in that elimination of intermediaries, as I said, then the marketing network. The marketing network, how to make the network so that the price fluctuation is minimized, as well as throughout the country. The price is we can, if we can make it uniform, or we can minimize the difference, then the consumer can be benefited. Or a good network can have give advantage of to the consumers as well as to the farmers. Then the improving the or developing the marketing capabilities. So far the marketing capabilities in a large cities is there, but in rural areas or small towns, is the marketing capabilities are not that much. So how to improve that, or how to develop the marketing capabilities? So so this the policy is something like that. The stakeholders with that that can be connected with the government, consumer, farmers, and the cooperative NGOs and PRIs, financial institutions, and academic research and institutions. Stakeholders means the food processing industry entrepreneurs. So due to this, the merits of this national policy on food processing, that will help the farmer for better remuneration, reduce the risk and uncertainties, and access to advanced technology. The farmers can get the advanced technology, and the whatever the risk at present in the production, and that can be minimized, as well as they can get a better price of their product or produce. That is the this policy has the merits. The consumer has the can get the quality products, and the with a reasonable cost, and increase the product varieties, so that the consumer can get the number of varieties in a market, and he has the choice to what to eat and what to not to eat. So this is the consumer point of view and the farmer point of view. These are the policies framed out with such merits. And infrastructure development point of view, the policy has the pre-processing facilities, then the transportation and warehousing and post-processing. And this is the wherever the necessary that can be created, and for the pre-processing and transportation and post-processing, and that so that it can be reached to the market with a very good handling way, and as well as for the research and development, how the institutes can be linked with the industries, and how the industry can be linked with the universities, or educational institutes, or research institutes. That is also a merit of this policy. And economic benefits, that inclusive the growth. So overall growth will be improved, and future market will be also improved, and export the promotions. However, there are some areas of concern, that is the transition from food crops to cash, because nowadays, as you know, that a lot of food crops are now the production of food crops are now out. The cash crop has taken place, replaces the food crops, which is one of the concern, because you say instead of groundnut, the cotton crop is catching more areas, as well as some other cash crops also catching more areas as compared to food products. This is the quite concern. The regulation of foreign investment in food processing sectors. This is also another concern area, that the regulation in FDI in food processing industries is still that not much of pervasive, or that much not of the easy for the forest investment. No provision for regulation of processing units. There are the number of the, as I said, that number of processing units in rural areas, at household units are available, in a very small scale units are available, but there are hardly any regulations for these units. They are processing the food in a different environment, and maybe a quality point of view or safety point of view, they are not that much of suitable sometimes, and even then, and they are producing the food and putting into the market. So a regulation is required to regulate such kind of the industries, so that the quality and safe food can be to be get by the consumers. Very good example is the milk. Suppose say milk. Okay, milk is produced by the animal keepers, and we see that there are the lot of things are added in that. We can say that in milk products, even before the Diwali festivals and all that festivals, a government is a lot of news is coming that this is the mawa is made from, or made from this foreign materials and all that. Okay, so good regulation is required for the in such type of processing units. Failure to address the issue of low credit availability. So some issues are there for low credit for required for the some industries. So that is to be also addressed. Absence of specific provision for small and marginal farmers. So very small farmers are like that. They are not that much of benefited through this kind of the policies as the farmers are saying. So that is also to be taken care. There are the implementation issues, large scale funding requirements for infrastructure development. As the government has announced that mega food parks, number of mega food parks in different states, but the large funding is required for the development of these sectors. If cold chain, then the mega food parks, equipment, procuring the equipments, establishing the industries. This is the huge funding is required. So still there is some issues, and that is to be also taken care in future. Reluctance of farmers to adapt the new environment. So sometimes as we have seen in recent days, that last year, and that the farmers are not that much of adaptive in the new policies, particularly the regulations, and sometimes we have to back that things, and so that the a very slow process for the development or a adoption is a very slow process for the new environment. Strong chain of middlemen. As said, middlemen, that is the lot of strong chain is available. So to break this chain is quite required quite efforts. Financial inclusion issues for the farmers. farmers required immediate finance so that they are unable to store their products. They are unable to process their products at a village level, and therefore they are selling their produce in market. So that these are some issues, and sometimes there is a gap between the center and states, and so that the policy is not implemented as in the favor of the consumers and in the favor of the farmers, or in the favor of the stakeholders. There are the lot of schemes are available for, and government is doing good initiatives for the promoting the food processing industries. These are the some schemes and listed here, and the names are like Mudra. This under this scheme, the 10 lakhs without any collateral security that can be obtained through this scheme. There are websites are given, so one can go through this website and can get the more information from this website. The PM EGP is another scheme which costs this helps to the new units with a project cost up to the 25 lakhs under the industry and 10 lakhs under the service, with subsidy ranging from 15 to 35%. Then Stand Up India, the women or SC/ST entrepreneurs for new units and 10 lakhs and above they are getting. Then MSME scheme, the new or existing MSME units with primary and collateral surety or CGT MSE cover up with up to the 2 crores. Then PM FME, that micro food processing at present latest this scheme is announced by the government, and under that I'm also the member of this committee, and in this various cluster is formed at different districts, and in districts having their produce. In say in Junagadh we have some spice crops, coriander and fenugreek and cumin, and these are the processing. There is given benefit to this produce. So there are in different districts. This is the district level. So a district can have a different crop produce in that particular produce. If the entrepreneurs are interested to invest for the processing unit, then they can get the subsidy up to the 10 lakhs, and they can establish the industry in particular crop of the district. Then PSB loans, existing units of MSME, they comply IT and GST, and then the PMS VA Nidhi Yojana, that is the loan to street vendors up to the 10,000 under Atmanirbhar Bharat, Startup India, SEA BC, and that also the eligible can get the loan to the 20 lakhs rupees, and 36% subsidy is also can be obtained from the NABARD. Then FPO, they supports the farmer producer organization for infrastructure and working capital needs. Then education, in that IITs and other professional institutes that can get the support for skill development activities. Then PMAY, the house loan, in this whose annual income is less than 18 lakhs, concession in interest from 3 to 6.5. And this is the another is the PMKY, the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, for the skill development particularly. And these are the number of schemes. Besides this, there are the other schemes of the NABARD, then the scheme of the National Horticulture Mission, National Horticulture Board, and there are many schemes are available. The only thing is the entrepreneurs and the the food processing industry interested entrepreneurs, they have to study carefully that schemes more useful for them, and they can adopt these schemes, and they can approach these district authorities and can apply there as well as then the district authorities recommend to the state and then state to the central government. This is the scheme that is the Dr. Das has narrated, but it's a very good scheme that by the food processing Ministry of Food Processing and Industries and Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. In that mega food parks, integrated cold chain, creation and expansion of food processing and preservation of capacities, then the creation of infrastructure for agro-processing clusters, creation of backward and forward linkages, food safety and quality assurance infrastructure, that means to establish the labs and all that, and human resource and institution for industries and skill development also. There are there is the PMKSY, that is the yojana that is from the Ministry of Food Processing and Industries is available, and one can avail the benefit of this. Mega food parks, there are very good food parks are established in Rajasthan also near to Ajmer. There is a food park is available, and in this particular food park provides the linkages between the agriculture production and market, so that the farmers, processors and retailers come together, and then the creation of state-of-art support infrastructure in a well-defined horticulture zone for setting up the modern food processing unit, industrial plots provided in the park with well-established supply chain. So in these parks already there are the plots are available. This kind of the parks are established in a industrial area of the particular district, and a district is identified by the government, and in Rajasthan 6 districts have been identified, including the Ajmer, Alwar. There are the other 4 districts, Churu, I think, and some districts are then associated with this cluster also. So in that mega park, the entrepreneur can establish its unit and can get the benefit of the already well established the supply chain. Consist of supply chain infrastructure, including the collection center, then primary processing centers, then central processing centers, cold chain, and 25 to 30 fully developed plots for entrepreneurs to set up this processing unit. So a lot of infrastructure, including this collection centers and everything is established in this mega park. Then project is implemented by a special purpose vehicle, and so that the state government do not require to establish the separate SPV, and this special purpose vehicle or a body corporate register under the Companies Act is established in this mega project park. So these are some components. Say at field collection centers, there are the number of field farmers from the farmers group to field collection centers, and from field collection centers to primary processing centers. The primary processing centers have like pre-cooling and then grading, pulping, sorting, waxing, packing, temporary storage, all this kind of the facilities at primary processing centers. This primary and the farmer groups or self-help groups or individual farmers. This is from there it comes to the CC or field collection centers, and from field collection centers to primary processing centers. Primary processing centers, they supply to the mega food park or SCPC. And this at mega food park, value-added products is produced and it is exported, or it is goes for the domestic sale. And this fresh products is goes to the domestic retail sales. So these are the some components of the farmer FPOs, and they are giving the products to the produce to the mega food park, where one can get easily or easily can get the raw material from the different groups. So like this, as I said, that Nagaur, Tonk, and Chomu near Jaipur, these are some identified by the government for the food park established. At present in Ajmer, there is some green food park is there, and similarly in Gujarat also there are the 3-4 food parks are established in near to Surat, near to Maharana, and near to the Ahmedabad, Vadodara. So they are doing very well job, and I have visited one food park also, and near to that they have a very good facilities, and they are really in near to Surat, even flower processing is there. So we have a very good scope of in spice, flowers, and so the one has to think about that how to use this mega park project that is the initiated by the government for their entrepreneurship development. So in this particular scheme, a capital grant of at the rate of 50% of the eligible project cost is in general areas, and at the 75% of eligible project cost in hilly areas are provided by the government, and this is the subjected to a maximum of 50 crore rupees. So a huge amount of the capital grant is provided by the government to establish the food processing industry in a mega park project. As earlier said, that 2,000 crore office memorandum is already issued by the government, and on the 9th March, and about 2,000 crores is to be made available in this agro-processing units in a 313 designated food parks. So there are in India about at present 313 designated food parks is there. So it will provide the good capital grant to the industry. There are the working mega food parks in different state and different areas, the state. In Rajasthan, as I said, that Green Tech Mega Food Park near to Ajmer is working, and so far in different states, in Gujarat, near to Surat is there, near to Maharana is there. So these are the some food parks that is the will help the entrepreneurs to establish their food processing industries. A very good infrastructure they have developed there. Then they, as I think Dr. Das has also has explained this scheme, PM formalization of micro food processing entrepreneurs, and as a little bit I have also, so I will not go much detail in this. But the key features are the to increase the common infrastructure, marketing, branding, and 2 lakhs entrepreneurs to be benefited by this scheme, benefit to the FPOs, self-help groups and cooperatives, integration with organized supply chain, and increase access to credit by micro enterprises, strengthening the institution research and training technologies, special focus on women, and the district cluster approach, and the credit-linked capital subsidy and seed capital to the self-help groups. And the duration is 4 years. That is the 2021 to 24-25. So in this 4 years, these are this scheme will be helpful for the small scale food processing industries at a district level. Just I will talk about the financial support in this. The upgradation of individual micro food processing units that will be can get the 35% of eligible project cost with a maximum ceiling of the 10 lakhs. And the seed capital to self-help group that can get the 40,000 per group for the working capital and purchase of small tools. So in this, about 10,000 crore is government has put in this this scheme, and the expenditure under this scheme would be shared with in 60 to 40 ratio between the central and state government, 90 to 10 ratio within that way. Only thing is here in the cluster is to be formed of the 10 farmers or 10 entrepreneurs, small clusters to be formed, and that can be benefited through this scheme. There are the other schemes for the for the cold chain. I think time is not permitting much to go in detail, but you can get this details in available in various links. And so cold chain is also a very important, and the government is giving the incentives for the development of cold chain. So and under this there are the various components that can be installed, including the cold logistic and ITs, processing infrastructure, quality control, supplies, export and import, domestic distribution, government. So all these are the component of the cold chains, and where this benefit in that entrepreneurs can get the benefit of this. A lot of cold storages in established in various states. If you see that earlier near to Rajasthan, also there is a Banaskantha district in Gujarat, potato growing district, and earlier there were the very low storage, low quality storage there, but nowadays you will find that a lot of very good cold storages, and also the government is giving benefit for the solar assisted cold storages. If you are interested for the solar assisted cold storages, then the government is also helping in that. And where the electricity is not available or where there is electricity problem, then solar assisted cold storages are nowadays now coming up and rapidly, and the farmers are benefited through this. So these are the some pattern of the assistance. That is the 10 crore rupees that can be for the civil work and technical work that can be assisted by the government, and pre-cooling units, ripening chamber, transport infrastructure, all this comes under the cold chain. So those who are interested for this this kind of the establishment of the infrastructure that can avail this benefit. the value addition and processing infrastructure, including the frozen storage, deep freezer, associated and integrated processing. So 50% at the rate of 50% for general areas and 75% of the northeastern region. So one can get the capital investment of this 50% for the general areas and 75% in hilly regions. And as well as for the irrigation facilities, also they can get the capital grant from the government. So under this cold chain. Creation and expansion of food processing and preservation capacities. So in that, if one is interested to improve the capacity and modernization and expansion of the existing food processing unit, then they can get the benefit through this scheme. And this scheme implemented through the organizations such as central and state government, joint ventures, farmer producer, FPOs, NGOs, self-help groups, and private limited companies, and individual, and the firms engaged in the establishment, upgradation, and modernization of this all this kind of the sections they can, or individuals can get the benefit of this scheme. So under this project, one can get the help of the cost of the plant and machineries and technical and civil work. The cost of utilities essential for the plant, water pipeline, DG set, solid waste treatment plant, and this kind of the facility one can upgrade in the existing plant and can get the benefit of the maximum of the 25% of the total project cost. And this is the benefit, how they can get the benefit patterns. Scheme for the agro processing cluster. So there are the 25 crore rupees can be invested under this scheme, and 5 crore. So at least 10 acres of land is required. Means one has to has a land and all that. Then the cluster of the agro processing sector that can be one can install there, or one can have a for the agro processing centers. They can develop this kind of the cluster. These are the scheme for the backward and forward linkages, and time is short, so I am not going much detail on this. I'm escaping all this. Those who are interested then can get the slides from Dr. Sanjay Jain. I have provided this the slides, and so another scheme is for the food safety and quality assurance. The infrastructure development. So one can develop the food quality labs and the testing laboratory, and as well as the standards and the food safety and quality management system also, and can get the benefit of the scheme. Similarly, for the small scale food business, there are the other schemes from the National Horticulture Board, as well as the National Horticulture Mission. And there are the like pack house is there, then the cold storage is also there, so that National Horticulture Mission also provide the subsidy on this, and as well as the capital benefit grant with a low interest on this. Finally, I would like to go one or two important slides of the Rajasthan Food Processing Policy 2019, and they can go through this who are interested in to establish the food processing industry in Rajasthan. and they can go through this policy. The link is provided here. So as per that policy, the state says that the raw material availability is very good raw material available in Rajasthan, particularly in crops like psyllium, fenugreek, mustard, bajra, cumin, coriander, guar, and about more than 10% of the nation's milk production is from Rajasthan. So very good scope of the food milk processing in the industry or unit to establish the milk processing unit. Basic infrastructure also a good with the state having a good road linkages and transportation facilities, as well as the good linkages with the port of the Maharashtra and Gujarat. Then the power availability, a lot of solar power plants are nowadays coming up in Rajasthan, so has a good solar and wind power generations, as well as the can claiming that it can provide the 24-hour power facility to the industries. The abundance of the workforce, so far the Rajasthan has the 62% of the total working population in the agriculture sector, and the 24% is GDP comes from the agriculture. So contributes in GDP. So it's a very good number of the population that can be available. So there is no problem of the manpower in this sector. Then there is a 6 food parks, as I said, and about 26 industries are earmarked as the suitable for the food processing industries. Out of 344 RICO zones, the 26 are earmarked as a food processing industries, and has 8 inland container developments. So these are some clusters in as spices, and in that Kota, Jodhpur, Bikaner, Jaipur, milk processing, pulse processing. These are some clusters developed by the government. In particular cluster, if one is interested, then the government can help the in particular commodity processing. So in this, there are the incentives are given to the investment subsidy up to the 75% of the state tax, GST, state GST for 7 years. Employment generation subsidy in the form of reimbursement of 50% employers' contribution towards employee EPF and ESI for 7 years. Exemption from payment of 100% electricity duty for 7 years. Exemptions from payment of 100% of land tax for 7 years. Exemption from payment of 100% market fee, Mandi fee for 7 years. Exemptions from payment of 100% stamp duty on the purchase of lease and sublease land, and exemptions from the payment of 100% of conversion charges, that is converting the land to a industry or a agricultural land to the industry. Then the 5% interest subsidy on loan taken by the enterprise from the financial institution, and for a period of 5 years, subject to maximum of 25 lakhs. Then capital subsidy of 25% of the investment made on the plant machinery, and subject to a maximum of I think 25 crores. Then the additional incentives is given to the backward and most backward areas in applicable investment subsidy and additional 2 years subsidy that we give maximum up to 9 years. That means in a normal case that is 7 years, but for the backward areas it is 9 years, whereas for the most backward areas it is 10 years. Then similarly in earlier cases, for general cases it is 7. Here it is 9 years. And as well as the payment of electricity duties and everything, that is also a 2 years more as compared to normal cases. And in most backward areas, 1 more year is exempted. Then Mukhyamantri Laghu Udyog Protsahan Yojana. In that also that interest on the capital and the subsidies also available. And one can take the loan of the rupees 10 crores, and in that with a low interest, one can get the loan of this 10 crore rupees. Similarly, under this interest subsidy under the MLUPY scheme, the up to the 25 lakhs interest subsidy is 8%. 25 to 5 crores, the interest subsidy is 6%, and 5 crore to 10 crores, 5%. So I think I tried to give as much as possible what are the different schemes and what are the different policies at state level and at national level. Even though there are the very good linkages nowadays available, and on hand everything is available, forms are available, then the guidelines are available, and then I think as we fill up the income tax form online, similarly one can fill up the online form for the establishment of the food processing industry, and can process these forms at district level. And besides this, there are the at district level also there are the other agencies also available to help the entrepreneurs. Maybe a district Jilla Udyog Kendra or district industry centers. Okay, this is also a one agency, so one can get the information from there and can get the generate their interest, and if they have the interest, I think this is the really a good time to be entrepreneurs and develop their skills, and can get the good income through the small scale, or those who have a capacity then can have a large scale entrepreneurs. So with these words, I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to express my views and to say this something to present this food processing schemes and policies in front of you. Thank you very much. Over to
Thank you,
Sanjay.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir, for such an elaborate map of government programs and the linkages which the students who have passed out or searching for something novel they want to do, they can obviously use these links and the programs. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request Dr. Sanjay Jain, sir, to convey the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Our chief guest of this webinar, Dr. S.K. Sharma, sir, Director Research, MPUAT. Eminent speakers of this webinar, Dr. Nichiket Kotwariwale, Director, ICAR, Central Institute of Post-Harvest Engineering and Technology, Ludhiana. Dr. S.K. Das, sir, Dean, College of Agricultural Engineering and Technology, OUAT, Bhubaneswar. Dr. P.M. Chauhan, sir, Professor, Junagadh Agricultural University, Junagadh. Dr. Mahesh Kothari, sir, Director, Planning and Monitoring. Dr. Virendra Nepalia, sir, Dr. B.K. Sharma, sir, Deans and Directors, presently connected, co-convener of this webinar, Dr. N.K. Jain sir, Dean CDFT, co-organizing secretaries, Dr. P.S. Champawas sir, Dr. Vikramaditya Dave sir, Dr. N.L. Pawar, Dr. Nikita madam, Dr. Deepak Rajpurohit, head of departments, faculty members, student coordinators, and all the participants, guests, and present and future food processors. It is my honor and privilege to conclude this national webinar on the theme Food Processing and Value Addition, Innovations, Opportunities, and Government Schemes by extending a vote of thanks. We are indeed very grateful. Even today he is absent, but in his absentia, I would like to mention the blessings of Dr. Narendra Singh Ji Rathod Sahab for successful organizing of this particular webinar. We are grateful to Dr. S.K. Sharma sir, Director Research MPUAT, for sparing his valuable time at a very short notice. Sir, we are highly grateful to you for your blessings and addressing the participants and sharing your experiences and ideas benefiting the participants. We are grateful to today's eminent speakers who justified their topics. Dr. Nachiket Kotwali sir, Director ICR CFET, who especially mentioned very elaborative and comprehensive presentation on various innovative technologies recently in use and going to be in use. Dr. S.K. Das sir, Dean College of Agriculture, Engineering and Technology, OUAT, in spite of his very busy schedule, sparing his valuable time, sir, we are grateful to you. Dr. P.M. Chauhan sir, Professor, Junagadh Agriculture University, also needs a great appreciation on justifying this particular topic, for sparing his valuable time, sharing his experiences, providing guidance to the participants of this webinar, gracing the occasion with their online presence, sir. We are highly grateful to you all for addressing the participants in spite of your very busy schedule and activities. We are also thankful to Dr. P.K. Singh sir, Dean CTI, for taking keen interest and suggesting his visionary thoughts and extending all facilities for successful organization of this webinar. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to all dean and directors of the university, head of departments, faculty members, and participants from different places to attend this webinar. Many participants from the different parts of the country are participating in this webinar. We are in fact highly encouraged with this. We owe the success of this webinar to all the participants and we seek their continual support. The financial assistance received from Institutional Development Program under the National Agricultural Higher Education Plan ICR for organizing this webinar is gratefully and sincerely acknowledged. We are thankful to all those who have been given support and cooperation and success of this webinar, especially the technical support given by Dr. Vikramaditya Dave sir is highly acknowledged. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the team members of this webinar, the co-convener of the webinars, Dr. N.K. Jain sir, co-organizing secretaries, Dr. P.S. Champawas sir, Dr. Vikramaditya Dave sir, Head Electrical Engineering, Dr. N.L. Pawar sir, Head Renewable Energy Engineering, Dr. Nikita Vadhavan madam, Dr. Deepak Rajpurohit ji, Head of Departments, faculty members, and student coordinators. I thank you once again all.
Thank you, sir.
With the permission of all the expert speakers, should we conclude, sir? Dr. Nepalia, sir? Chauhan, sir? Sanjay, sir? Can we conclude, sir? V.K. Sharma, sir? निकल गए